Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight as we head to Brandon for the Scott Tournament of Final, a matchup between Saskatchewan top finisher in the round robin and the hometown Brandon rink semifinal winners last night. Don Whitman sets up the final of the Scott Tournament of Hearts in Brandon, Manitoba. Don?
Scott, this trophy will change hands today, and it's been a week of surprises. 3 former champions came to Brandon as favorites. In 1982, a team from Nova Scotia took the hardware home. A young rink from Halifax, skipped by Colleen Jones, made the long trip to Regina and captured the first ever Scott Tournament of Hearts. She's been back 6 times since and loomed a solid favorite. In 91, the trophy headed west to BC. That tournament was dominated by Julie Sutton's Victoria foursome. They cruised to an 11-1 record in Saskatoon and made it to the final again in 92. That brought them to Brandon wearing the mantle of favorite. Last year in Halifax, it was Manitoba's turn. Just as she'd done in 1984, Connie Laliberti led her rink to the victory podium with a win over BC in the final. The Manitoba fans were elated, but the cheering rang loudest in Brandon. That win put 2 Manitoba teams in their tournament. Good news that got even better when hometown hero Maureen Bonar won the provincial title. And good news that got better still when Bonar made this shot in last night's semifinal for an 8-4 win over Ontario.
Come on, girls. Come on, girls. Hurry. Hurry. Come on.
Jones, Sutton, and Laliberti were gone, and a hometown rink was headed to the final for the first time in tournament history. And needless to say, Brandon fans went berserk.
We just get so hyped when, you know, a shot is made and the crowd's behind us and they're so loud, and it sends goosebumps up your back. You're just on such a high, and you just want to please them as much as please yourself and make the shot, but it's so incredible, the feeling.
Now Maureen Bonar looks to one more piece of magic, one more boost from the home crowd, one last game between her and the title. Her opponent is Sandra Peterson, a woman on a mission to end Saskatchewan's 12-year drought. Pressure that Peterson handled masterfully. Last round-robin shot, Team Canada eliminated. The Regina rink was headed directly to the final match, a game that has all the earmarks of a classic.
It's electric in there when Team Manitoba is playing. The fans are just so excited for them, and they should be. We have a nice contingent of fans here as far as Saskatchewan fans go. It's not overwhelming, but it keeps us focused and keeps us excited when we're making shots, because they're really vocal, and they love to ring the bells, and they love to get excited about the shots that we're making.
For Peterson, the end of the drought is in sight. The Keystone Centre is packed to the rafters, and today, new Canadian champions will be crowned. This is Brandon, Manitoba, 1993, home to the Scott Tournament of Hearts, where today it's Manitoba against Saskatchewan in an all-prairie shootout for the grail of women's curling. We are live at the Keystone Centre in Brandon, where the air is charged with anticipation of a great match between the round-robin champions and the hometown heroes. Welcome to Brandon. I'm Don Whitman, along with 2-time world champion Don Duguid. Doogie, prairie battle, Manitoba versus Saskatchewan for the women's championship.
Well, really, Don, these 2 skips put on a great exhibition all week. The Saskatchewan skip just played super, made some great shots. Bonar, of course, has had the crowd behind her, played very, very steady. The best skip with the last 5 games that are on Robin. That was Bonar's contribution. So it's going to be a great match. I think Saskatchewan's got to take the crowd out of the game, maybe by getting ahead early.
Saskatchewan with a 9-2 record in round-robin play. Manitoba was 8-3, and Manitoba defeated Ontario in the semifinal by a score of 8-4 to advance to this afternoon's championship game. A big crowd in attendance, and a lady who knows all about big crowds, about the pressure of championship women's curling. She's been here 7 times, our Colleen Jones.
Thanks, Don. You know, Don Duguid mentioned about how Saskatchewan has to take the crowd out of this game. I don't know how you ever do that. They have been an electrifying crowd, sold-out crowds all week long. They're breaking attendance records. They'll have drawn well over 88,000 fans for the entire week. And I'll tell you, when Maureen Bonar from Manitoba makes a shot, this place goes absolutely wild, and it's a very intimidating thing to play against. Your heart kind of stops when you hear the crowd explode. They have been a big motivating force for her all week. They've been like a 5th player on the ice. I don't know how Sandra Peterson's going to take them out of the game, but it's something she wants to do. Don?
All right, Colleen, well, this game is about to get underway, and by virtue of leading the way through round-robin competition, Saskatchewan will have the advantage of last rock to start the game. Rhonda Fowler, the 21-year-old lead for the Manitoba champions, will deliver the opening game of this championship game. Last night, for the semifinal between Manitoba and Ontario, 5,473, an attendance record, watched the game. This morning, the folks were lined up at 7:30 to purchase standing room tickets for this afternoon's game. So I would guess, Don Duguid, that better than 5,500 will be watching the game here at the Keystone Center today.
Well, for years, Brandon has really been a hotbed of curling, Don. They've got a lot of great curling teams. And the citizens of Brandon really did a great job, and they should all be very, very proud of what they've accomplished here this week. And the fact that Maureen Bonar is in the final, Don, is really a bonus. But these girls have worked hard on their game. I've watched them curl through the winter time in the Manitoba Bonspiel, where they started to hit their stride, and they've just been not only excellent ambassadors of the game, but great individual curlers.
Marcia Gooderwright, the Saskatchewan lead, removes the opening delivery from Rhonda Fowler. And Shooter rolls off to the side, but doesn't quite go out of play, but it is out of the rings. You see it over on the left-hand side.
Well, the big thing for Rhonda Fowler and for Marcia Gooderwright, Don, is that they have to get the feel for the ice. They really are the catalyst for the rest of the team in this end, because the rest of the team will determine how hard Rhonda Fowler is throwing the rock to get into the rings or in front of the house. And conversely, Marcia Gooderwright, for her team, she'll find the runs in the ice because she'll be playing takeouts, having the advantage of last rock. So the leads really set the tone for the whole game as to how keen it is. And the other lead will find out where the runs in the ice are for the rest of the game.
All the curlers have been high in their praise of ice conditions during the week. It has been very keen. I think Colleen Jones suggested it may have been 2 or 3 seconds or maybe even keener than the ice she is used to back in Nova Scotia. Is that true, Colleen?
Well, I think a lot of people, commented on that. We're used to, in curling clubs, playing on about 22-second ice, and here it got up to 25-second, which is very, very quick. The other thing about it that you'll notice throughout the game is that the rings are very quick. When you're playing a takeout, you almost have to hit it right on the nose. If you hit 3/4 of the rock, your shooter will roll out of the rings.
That's what they call very alive ice. When you hit a rock, it spins, Don, and if you don't hit a good portion of it, as Colleen suggests, you're liable to spin out of the ring. So it's very active ice. Some ice is very dull, very slow, and the rocks don't react very fast.
No, it's okay.
Allison Bell attempting to remove the Saskatchewan stone, and she slips through with a chorus of groans from the capacity crowd here in the Keystone Center. Not since 1972, when Vera Pieser won in Saskatoon, has a hometown rink had an opportunity to play in this women's championship game.
Well, I know last year when I played in Halifax, the pressure from the fans is quite a bit. You really want to do well for them. Maureen has used the fans to her advantage all week long. They have really spurred her on.
Yep, come on, hurry. Right back, guys, right back. Okay.
This is beautiful control of your draw weight in the very first end. Joan McCusker making, of course, a great draw to split the house. And Saskatchewan's got the advantage very early in this end.
Well, where Allison Bell is playing this in-turn ticket, if you get a little bit out on this, it stays out. If you turn it in, it'll go. There are a couple of interesting runs on the ice. It's really good ice, but there are some tricky spots. You'll see what I mean here, the way it just will hang, and she'll roll away.
The in-turn side going away, the odd end. In-turn side of center on the outside of the center line runs very, very straight with any kind of weight. You can bury as it gets closer to the line, but you have to have perfect draw weight.
Joan McCusker is hoping this is going to be a big month for the McCusker clan. She would like to add the Scott Tournament of Hearts trophy. And husband Brian, who is playing third for Randy Wojtowicz, will be participating next week at the Briar in Ottawa. As a matter of fact, the first draw gets underway tonight.
Well, that would be quite an accomplishment if they could both pull off Canadian championships.
The delivery by Joan McCusker comes to rest in the top of the 12, and now Lois Fowler will attempt the removal of the shot rock sitting over in the 8-foot circle. For those who may not be familiar with what is going on, Lois Fowler was originally the local chairwoman of this event and had to relinquish those duties because she wound up playing.
Well, Don, it's kind of funny because I met Lois last year in Halifax and she was all rah-rah, come to Brandon for the Scott, it's going to be a fabulous event. I never expected to come and be playing against her.
I don't think at that time she anticipated that she would be playing in the Scott Tournament of Hearts here in her hometown.
What a thrill for them, though.
Well, you know, the Manitoba team, I really think they started to build a lot of confidence. They came into Winnipeg into the provincial, before the provincial playdowns, and went into the Manitoba women's bonspiel, and they really played well. They played all the top teams in Manitoba, and they really did well. And I think that's when they got their confidence built up, and they knew that they could win the provincial playdowns when they went in it. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And because of that, here they are today, playing for the Canadian champions. So it's a real Cinderella story.
The Saskatchewan rink is certainly more experienced. Jan BETKER, who just delivered that stone into the 8-foot, curled in 1987 and was the all-star second when the event was held in Lethbridge. She curled with Kathy Fallman, and the skip, Sandra Peterson, was the all-star third that year.
And they're really capitalizing in this end with their draw weight. First end draw weight's always a little bit tricky.
No handle.
You heard the comment, no handle, and that rock did not curl as much as they had anticipated. Fowler removes the shot stone belonging to Saskatchewan, but the shooter also rolls out.
Well, Dawn and I were talking about that the other day, that her outturn handle is a very, very slow handle, and when she gets out in the frost like that, she'll lose it.
Looks like more.
But conversely, if she is drawing around a guard halfway between the house, the hog line, and the center line, it will really come off a hill and bury nicely, whereas a turning rock, a more active turning rock, will maybe stay a little bit straighter. But you're right, Pauline. She, along with Maureen Bonar, throw very lazy turns with the outturn.
I think my outturn will be fine.
Yeah.
Of course, you see Jan BETKER going back and talking to Sandra Peterson just about the weight. I threw about a 23 there, or a 24, and she just kind of reassuring Sandra that the ice conditions have not changed from during the week, that it's almost the same.
Yep.
And it will keep the same speed normally all week, and the same runs in the ice.
We mentioned that Lois Fowler was to be the chairwoman of this event. Maureen Bonar, the skip, was on the ceremonies committee. She had to relinquish those duties. So they were going to be involved one way or another in this Scott Tournament of Hearts in Brandon. They much prefer the role they're currently involved in. Maureen Bonar's stone will just roll off the ring. Saskatchewan is left flying one.
Yeah, it's the same.
Now, Colleen, you talked about this being 24-25 second ice. Maureen Bonar and Lois Fowler are talking about 2.5. What are they referring to?
22.5 second ice is what they're referring to. They just shortened the, but it must be a little stiffer right now in the first end compared to what it might be in the middle of the game.
And keep in mind that she is, of course, playing the intern inside the center line, and it's a little bit faster down the center because all the players are sliding down there. But as it comes off that center line, as the rock progresses down the sheet, it's going to get a little bit tighter or tougher. So at the end, it should stop up for her.
T-line, guys. Look, sure, guys.
Sandra's been a really consistent
Not moving
curler all
much.
week, and she's made some brilliant shots.
Okay, T-line, yep. Good. Yep, T-line. Just T. Becky, come on. Okay. Okay. That's good. One more.
The skip called for the back of the 8, and that's where the stone comes to rest. Pretty good opening end control of weight for Saskatchewan.
Well, that's not why it's so very important that Marcia Gooderwright establishes the weight. he kind of sets the tone for the whole end.
Yeah.
The name Bonar is certainly familiar to sports fans in the Brandon area. Maureen's brother Dan played in the National Hockey League with the Los Angeles Kings in the early 80s.
Down weight, very hard, very hard, very hard. Yep. Hurry, 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 hurry hard. Roll it. Right over, right over.
Well, she changes the location of the shot that Peterson
Whatever you want to throw.
is forced to make with her final stone of this opening end.
Intern moves so much.
Moves a little bit. Well, it won't move as much here as it will over there.
Yeah. Okay. How about right there? Normal weight.
And that's always a good thing, I would suppose, in that you cause the opposing skip to think just a little.
Exactly. They move. Bonar made a great shot by rolling over there, Don, because this is the tricky part of the ice. And you saw Sandra Peterson and Jan BETKER talking about just playing normal weight because it runs very straight there.
Yeah. It's going to move up that much? It will, but was that enough ice?
I think it looks good.
There's always that slight thread of doubt when you change the position.
Well, it's not only that, it's the weight, too. Weight is very, very critical on shots like this, because if you overthrow it and hit the broom, it's liable to ride out on you. If you hit the broom and throw it a little bit too quiet, it's liable to curl across the face of it. So the key is to throw your normal takeout weight, put the brush down for the weight that you're going to throw normally, and you should make the shot.
No, no. Yep. No. Yes. Just clean it. Just clean. Whoa. Just clean. Clean.
Right on the nose, Don.
Good shot.
That's good control. That's a beautiful curling shot first end.
So Sandra Peterson removes the Manitoba stone with her final rock at the opening end. And Saskatchewan, with last rock advantage on end number 1, jumps into a 2-0 lead in the Scott Tournament of Hearts final.
Brought to you by Scott Paper, proud sponsor of the Scott Tournament of Hearts.
Fans from Saskatchewan take curling to heart, mixing passion for the game with the pleasure of camaraderie. So it goes for Sandra Peterson's rink and the loyal fans who've made the long drive from Regina.
The goal, the get, the gang, the bet. Peterson, Peterson, yep, yep, yep.
They're going to be cheering whether you win, whether you lose, whether you make good ones, whether you make bad ones. They're going to be just happy to be there, and it really picks the team up. Even after the game, you can go over and have a chat with them and talk about things other than curling. So they're just a lift for our team, I think.
And they've had plenty to make noise about. Peterson's Caledonia Club rink has been the model of consistency in Brandon. They've balanced team focus on the ice perfectly with time together, away from the spotlight.
Good stuff. I like that move.
I invented that myself.
Let me guess. Whose job?
This confident, relaxed attitude is their trademark. First and foremost, they are an exceptional curling team, but there's more here. They're also very good friends.
Humor plays a really big part on this team. Everybody off the ice, everybody likes to have a good time, and I think it's a big way of how we relax, and it's just a big part of the team, humor.
Still, behind the laughter, there's pressure. Saskatchewan hasn't won since 1980, and they weren't early favorites in Brandon. That doesn't rest easily with this team.
Like a log?
You don't have to have been in a Canadian final previously to belong in one. And I just think we're not out of place at all. And I think, well, I think there are some people that probably are surprised we're in the final, but there's a lot of people that aren't.
So the Peterson crew comes here full of purpose to regain lost glory, to return home champions, to fulfill a dream.
A dream come true. A dream that I've just dared to dream this last year, that you just started to think about that we could do it. And being this close is incredibly exciting.
Since Scott Paper Limited took over sponsorship of the Women's Championship, a team from Regina has not been able to engrave its name on that trophy. Sandra Peterson hopes to put an end to that drought this afternoon at the Keystone Center in Brandon. You know, from 1969 to 1974, Saskatchewan women won 6 consecutive Canadian women's curling championships.
Well, for years they were a dominant force, and you know, these type of competitions are very, very difficult. You can only relate this to a lot of curlers that it's a long round-robin series, and it is tough mentally, it's tough physically, and I know you can talk to Colleen about what a really difficult job it is to win this event.
Well, there's such parity now between all the provinces. We saw that this week. There were a couple of giant killers, whether it was the Northwest Territories or Prince Edward Island or Newfoundland. They all won huge games against the big teams. It's no longer just the, you know, the Western teams that are coming here and with easy victories. And it's a matter of breaks too. Boy, you have to get the right rolls at the right time. And Peterson and Bonar have gotten a lot of them. They've played great.
Well, we've been teasing Colleen about not making it to the final this year, but we also congratulate you, Colleen, on 7 appearances in the Scott Tournament of Hearts. That in itself is a major achievement.
Well, I figure I'm in good company, and Don Duguid didn't make it back to the seniors this year, so our running bet is still, I think I'm slightly ahead.
I was wondering who was going to bring that up first, you or myself.
More than slightly ahead you are, Colleen, I'll tell you that. Anyway, very wide open end here. Bonner's trying to get a corner guard up for Manitoba. Coming in a little deep, Saskatchewan, who is really a good peeling team. I think a little bit more adept at peeling than the Manitoba team, but they're very, very strong at that. And of course, Bonner, I think, maybe a little bit better at the finesse game. She's trying to get something started. Of course, Saskatchewan's not going to let her.
Yep, yep.
Okay, that's good.
Colleen, since you first won the inaugural Scott Tournament of Hearts, I'm sure that over the years you have noticed a tremendous change in strategy, that all rinks now are very up to date and very capable of, you know, changing strategy and making all the shots and calling the right type of shots.
Without question. The women have become much more aggressive and much more knowledgeable. They used to play a very wide open style of game, wait for somebody else to miss. Now everybody is very, very strong. But I am surprised at Maureen Bonar this end not going after it a little bit more, because I'll tell you, this Saskatchewan team doesn't miss the hits.
Here, Joan did. Come across the face. How's that look? Okay.
Jan Betker and Sandra Peters have great communication, Don.
Oh, the center line. Center line will pull up a bit.
And it's nice to see, you know, and there's nothing better than having a very competent third saying,
a
okay,
little more ice than what I gave you.
a little bit more ice, and talking to each other and what kind of weight they're going to throw.
So nice, guys.
And it's team
You
communication.
guys' rocks sweaty?
Pardon?
Are your rocks wet?
Yeah, it's, I think they doubled it. It's from the edges.
Oh, okay. Okay, nose hit.
2-0 Saskatchewan leads, playing the second end of this Scott Tournament of Hearts championship game.
That's pretty accurate. Well, let me tell you.
Nice there. That's good weight.
See, even after she's made the shot, she runs by and talks to her front end. That was right, nice weight.
They played together for years now.
I know they're leaving lots of them.
The Manitoba rink got off to a bit of a shaky start, but Maureen Bonar's crew has certainly been on a roll. Last night's victory, the 7th straight for Bonar, knocking off Mertonville of Ontario 8-4 in the semifinal game.
You know, I said at the top of the show, Maureen Bonar had the best percentage of all the skips in this competition the last 5 games, Don. So she's come on very, very strong. And shots like that really give your team a lift. I mean, it's over a little bit in the frost, right against the boards. I mean, that's just great shooting. And, you know, there's a rock over by the boards. A lot of curlers sometimes have a tendency to make sure they throw it just a little bit harder because, you know, you're over in a lot of frost, and it's there's no rocks been played over there, so you just want to make sure you keep your weight up a bit.
I think hers did when she threw one there.
Well, you heard Sandra say to the front end, Joan McCusker and Marcy Gooderite, that she's going to throw the same weight.
Okay.
And that part of the game is very important, the communication with the front end, so they know exactly what type of weight you're throwing.
Exactly. The key in curling is to throw the same weight all the time for takeouts, regardless of where the opposing rocks are in the circles.
Indeed, that is a nice shot. Not only does she remove the Manitoba stone, but is not going to give Manitoba a freebie as far as blanking this end is concerned, because she rolled the shooter into the 8-foot.
I know.
You know, you can really tell when a team's on a roll by the way they play their takeouts. You know, hit and roll and hit accurately. And these first 2 ends, Saskatchewan's just been dynamite on takeouts.
Well, in order to beat Saskatchewan, you have to mix it up a little bit and get those corner guards out and play the freezes, because they're a very proficient takeout team.
So Manitoba will retain last rock advantage into end number 3 after 2 ends of play in the 1993 Scott Tournament of Hearts final. It's Saskatchewan 2, Manitoba nothing.
Out here, the Trans-Canada Highway runs straight and wide all the way to the horizon, past Brandon, home to Maureen Bonar, and the town's first family of curling, the Fowlers, home to fans who know the game and show it.
It's a nice spin-off to have, you know, the Fowler name behind us, and I think you know, that's a positive in itself. Brian's record in men's curling has proven to be very successful, and he's well known for his curling ability, and it just filters down. I think now maybe the audience and the people around will recognize that the women are just as fine curlers, if not better.
Lead Rhonda Fowler plays under watchful eyes. Her mum Lois is the team's vice.
I really will admit I wasn't sure if I wanted to play with my daughter, you know, because there's quite an age difference there and whatnot, but it's just melded the team and it's worked out great, and we're very happy.
You can say different things to her and you know she won't take it the wrong way, whereas, you know, you wouldn't want to say things like that to the other two. That's the only difference I really find.
The Brandon connection has helped. When Bonar faltered early, the fans lifted the team.
Oh, it's incredible, the support that we've received through faxes, flowers, cards. It's just incredible.
Starting the nerves.
And it's been a grand journey. Lois was on the committee that brought the tournament to Brandon. For her, it's been a fairy tale.
It's just been a thrill of a lifetime. It's been great from the hour we moved into the hotel, and it's still just going on every day, and it's just completely, like I said before, a dream come true.
A newcomer to Brandon, the past week has made Allyson Bell feel right at home.
Nova Scotia.
It's been wonderful for me to get to know so many more people in Brandon, and the warmth of this city is just so overwhelming, and I've really felt that this year, especially with the curling.
Win or lose, it's been a magical time, one that Maureen Bonar will never forget.
From my own personal standpoint, I just hope I'm as nice and gracious to people if they're in this position as they have been to me, because it's incredible how they've reacted to our team and supported our team and been so excited about how we're doing.
And for the capacity crowd in the Keystone Center in Brandon, what would make this a perfect week would be if Bonar and company can win the 1993 Scott Tournament of Hearts. Maureen's parents, of course, are in attendance. They're calling Maureen the blonde bomber of Brandon.
Well, they've got a great right to be proud of this team. They're just great personalities, Don. I mean, they just do so much for the game of curling.
They're going to have to work on this one if they're going to try and get it past that corner guard, and it comes up short.
But not a bad shot. You know, you have last rock. You're trying to maybe put up a corner guard where you can draw around. Better there than through the rings. Of course, Saskatchewan being up 2-0, they know they can't remove all those 3 rocks on the left-hand side, so they're going to play to the open side, which is a good call by Sandra Peterson.
You know what is interesting with this Saskatchewan rink? In key games, since playdowns began leading up to Brandon, they have a record of 24-3. 2 of those losses were here in round-robin competition.
Well, I know they have an unbelievable record. They played about 100 games together this year. Don been fairly successful in the cash circuit. And you can tell they're just seasoned. Nobody scared them through the whole week. They just played their own game and did an amazing job all week.
Lois Fowler had to turn the chairwoman duties of this event over to 2 people, Linda Lombard and Karen Gislason. And Lois said that while people have asked her about certain things, she's referred all matters to the 2 women who have taken over as co-chairwomen.
Well, you know, Lois would have liked to have stuck there, Don, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because if she sticks there, it forces the other team to hit and stick. If for some reason Saskatchewan hit and rolled out, if Lois had stuck there, Manitoba might have been able to go around that corner guard. So it was important that Lois hit and stuck there. But the ice is moving very nicely over towards the boards, the inside out towards the boards. You'll see this rock move.
You know, there's been a lot of talk about the free guard zone. Peterson and the other members of the Saskatchewan rink said as long as you have ice that moves as much as it does here at the Keystone Center, you don't need it.
No, that's true. I mean, if you get good move into the ice, the curlers will put on a show. I mean, if another team, if you're playing a team that doesn't want to play the come-around game, no free guard zone is going to work. And you know, I get a kick out of, you talk to some of the sports writers, they say, oh yeah, well, I agree with the four guard. I mean, they haven't curled for about 30 years, and you know, they put things into the game that we really don't need. I don't mind the free guard zone. I think 4 is a little bit too many rocks. 3 would be my idea.
Well, 3 is what they're looking at voting on at the meetings in June, and it looks like it will definitely go through.
There's a great shot by Lois Fowler. Don, she hit and rolled to the far corner behind the corner guards. It's partly open, but the nice thing, it's behind the tee line, and Stetchen hits it on the nose.
Oh, more there. Just about all of it. Bump? Bumper. Gunk, gunk. To there. The farther we roll over here, the better, right?
Peterson wants to take play away from those 3 stones sitting out front.
Okay.
That's right.
Guard's really long. You don't want to sit there, though.
See? You heard her say she doesn't want to sit there, Don, because if she sits there, Manitoba will come down and freeze right to it. And it's very difficult. Not only is the rock frozen to it, but you have the guards to worry about with your next shot. So Sandra Peterson wants to hit and roll to the center away from those guards.
You want to roll your way, Mars, when you can. Go again. Let's trust the ice. I know it's free move, so let's go. Same weight? Yep, yep.
It was interesting in talking to members of both rinks last night. Peterson had an interesting comment. She said, patience has been a key all week. Don't rush into making any shots. If you've got a routine, go through it every time you deliver a stone.
Nice way. Not at all.
She's a long way out there.
Watch it. No.
Starting to make a move now. Now that is an excellent curling shot. Beautiful control of weight and line.
Okay, don't worry about it. This will curl up. That was just bumpery-ish, light hit type stuff. Yeah.
Should I go fill it up?
Good job. Oh, yeah. They moved it. It's back there now.
The water supply has been moved, and Jan BETKER has gone to replenish the glass that she and the skip are sharing. Bonar wants to save her shooter. Will she? No.
Too much weight. Yeah.
What's this? Yeah.
Measure it anyway if we have a chance. You know, even that isn't bad. They haven't come light because then she's got to.
I don't really need it.
Oh yeah, in a big way. That's what she gave for that one. She was quite light. With a little more weight, it should hold it, but there's no sense hitting the guard, eh? You know the one, and she gave the center line for that one that rolled in there, so that should be good. Yeah.
Well, what Peterson is trying to do, Don, she wants to put the rock somewhere in that area, but she'd like to get it in here and maybe tuck it slightly over here, forcing Manitoba maybe to play a draw and get one. The key is that she's done her job this whole end by forcing maybe Manitoba to take one, and this is the shot that's going to do it.
3.5?
Oh, yeah.
God, this is wet.
Yeah.
She was referring to the moisture that is
I can't hit you, Plunkett.
building up on the bottom of the rock from the stone sitting off to the sides of the sheet.
Well, there's a lot of frost on the ice on the outside, and the rocks are sitting there. But not only that, you'll notice Sandra Peterson turns her rock over and cleans it with her hand. Well, her hand is warmed on, and the rock is cold, so naturally you're going to get some condensation on it.
Wait, looks nice.
But it is very humid
We can,
here.
guys. Lots of room. Tons of room. Yeah. T-line? For sure. T-line on its own. No. Tons of room. Way out. Whoa.
The rock is way out there.
Line's good. Yep. Yes.
Look at that rock swing over. Boy, that rock curled a long way the last 6 feet.
They're a little worried about that front one and wondering if it's on or not. It looks off from here, but the rings were fairly accurate. I wouldn't think that is on.
Well, yesterday, Colleen, I was out there and the girls were measuring, using the measuring stick and putting a rock just to see if the rings were accurate or not. And you almost have to be touching the little black line that runs around the 12-foot circle
You can't hit me, Plunkett. I don't know, pretty tough
to be on. So by the looks of that rock there, it is not in the rings. It's well off. Tough shot here for Bonar because if she throws any kind of weight, it's going to run straight for a long time and then make a big move at the end.
Hurry! Very hard. Whoa. Good girl.
And Maureen Bonar removes the Saskatchewan stone and picks up one on this third end of the 1993 Scott Tournament of Hearts. After 3 ends of play, Saskatchewan holds a 1-point lead. The Keystone Center in Brandon, Manitoba has been the focal point all week for women's curling in this country, and it all culminates today with this championship game. Saskatchewan leading Manitoba 2-1, playing the fourth end. The Keystone Center is the home of the Brandon Wheat Kings of the Western Hockey League, a team that has turned out many a National Hockey League star, and it is also the site of the Royal Manitoba Winter Fair, one of the larger agricultural fairs in the country.
Well, it's a fabulous facility. It's huge. 2 rinks and a curling club.
Clean. Got a girl.
You always know they have a piece when they yell clean, clean.
There's Manitoba having to take a point there because the rock partially buried. And Maureen Bonar's made some great shots here, and she's curling very, very well. But playing the fourth end, she's going to make, or trying to make things difficult for Saskatchewan, hopefully getting a center guard up and trying to draw around. But as we said earlier, the Saskatchewan team very, very proficient at running off guards.
Allison Bell's husband is the curling writer for the Brandon Sun. Jason Bell is covering this event, and she was saying after each match he interviews the other members of the team but doesn't ask me for any quotes.
I wonder how objective he is.
I think he might be slightly biased. They're expecting their first child in June, and if it's a boy, Allison told us he's going to be named Scott.
Very appropriate. Here's the nose hit that Bonar wanted. It's a little bit off the center line, but it's quite a way out, and I would think she would start going around rocks right now.
Joan McCusker has thus far been out curling Allison Bell. Allison got off to a bit of a shaky start on the opening end.
Well, it's really interesting. She missed her first hit in the very first end, and Saskatchewan scored 2 by replacing the draws throughout the whole end, Don, and that's the difference in the game right now. Those 2 points in the very first end. Now there's an opportunity for Manitoba to pull around that guard. And very important to keep the rock in front of the tee line.
Where is it? Lots of weight. Back.
They haven't laid a brush to it yet. There's lots of weight. While it's in the rings, Don, it's very, very treacherous position for Manitoba. I mean, if you're that far in front of the tee line, the top 12 foot,
I think so, hey?
Huh? It's a little keener down there.
you have a good shot.
Even back there isn't too bad. Okay?
Because see now,
I like this,
Saskatchewan, Don, has the guard out in front and the one at the back. So the girl can either be light or heavy, and she's got everything going for her on this particular shot. She can curl around, and I know that Peterson would love it to curl in just around that guard and maybe just light the 8 foot.
It's nice. Only if we have to.
This game is always one of just capitalizing on your opportunities, and that was one chance Manitoba had to get around and be above the tee line, because now Saskatchewan's going right after their deuce.
Whoa.
This one must be speeding up down that center line, because both players have thrown a little heavier than they wanted to.
Oh, perfect zone.
Just enough to nudge the Manitoba stone out of the rings. And Bonar is ignoring the rock that was just delivered by McCusker.
Well, Don, if she plays the hit on the back one and rolls the shooter away, Peterson will still go around the corner guard. So if Bonar's decided, well, I'm going to beat her there. I'm hoping that Lois Fowler can throw this rock, Don, and get it in front of the tee line, completely buried. You hear him yelling, lots of room.
Never. Make sure it's here, though, okay? Here. Okay. Whoa. Yeah. Whoa.
Manitoba now lies 1.
Well, it really must be fast down there, Colleen. You're at ice level. They seem to be gliding a lot more down there.
They seem to be actually going downhill once they hit the top of the rings.
Doesn't matter. We could try and do this, but then... We could just sit on it, plunk it back, that's fine. Just back 8, wait. Okay? Back 8, waiting.
Jan Betker, the Saskatchewan third, will be just coming down to that Manitoba shot rock, sitting at the 6 o'clock position in the 12-foot ring.
How's the weight? It's good. You're gonna move up all wet line's good. Where is it? Down 2, down 2. Clean it. That's good.
She is back 12-foot weight too. She's going to make contact with these rocks at the back.
Looks more like back line weight, I think.
So with that stone, the 2 rocks that were hanging around at the back of the rings are removed from play. Jan Betker hasn't missed a shot thus far, and there's a big discrepancy in percentages between Betker and Manitoba third Lois Fowler.
Well, this is a difficult situation for Manitoba, Don, because they can make 7.5 perfect shots in this particular situation and maybe corner freeze here, and it could end up Peterson from Saskatchewan could get 2. You have to be so exacting here. You're really playing the type of game that Peterson wants to play this in. I mean, this has to be perfectly frozen right on top.
Got a girl low.
That's a pretty good shot, but Don, you see the separation in between the 2 rocks, or the 3 rocks there. She can hit it on the inside and still lie 2.
Too much ice. Shoot it. Jam that red one back on the yellow, unfortunately.
I said I could. Could try freeze again. Freeze over here. Then they just freeze on top of it, though. Whatever you want. Do you want to come look? No, you know.
I like that when the third says, no, I don't want to look. You make the shot. You call the shots.
That's right.
I don't mind if we play this and move it a bit. Same weight?
That's exactly like play exactly the same shot.
Yeah.
It's a little bit strong. The sweepers will take it.
Just move it back to there. Okay. Okay?
And that's the same shot as her first one, so this is a good call. You know, if she's nice and quiet, she'll bump that one, maybe roll to the inside a bit and be lying 2. Then put the pressure on Manitoba to make a good freeze. I mean, it's a lot more difficult freezing against 1 than it is 2, so they've got to be very, very careful here, Manitoba. This could be a big end for Saskatchewan. Well, this is a good-looking shot, Don. She's got great line.
I got it. Good.
Look at that. Beautiful shot. Absolutely a well-executed shot.
She pushed the Manitoba stone out of there, just nudging her own rock, but Saskatchewan is left lying 2.
Hasn't been moving in that great, so you never know. Where'd my toe rubber go? You what? My thing.
It's right there. 24, eh? It's my first draw.
Yes, that's the difficulty for Maureen Bonar, Don. It's her first draw. And it's very, very fast down there. You heard her say 24. 24 seconds is fairly fast ice. The danger here, Don, if she puts it out, it's going to run very, very straight and maybe just work at the end. So this is a tough shot for Maureen Bonar.
Although the big advantage for her is that at least it's behind the tee line and there's a guard out front too.
That's the saving grace, and she's a long way out there. She can't afford to touch that one and roll in the open. Then it's a wide open hit for Saskatchewan to lie 3. Starting to dig in now.
It's just a little heavy.
Good shot.
Manitoba now lies 1, and Peterson will have to execute much the same shot.
She throws it better and we can't get at it. No, this isn't bad.
No, well, yeah, because you can bang off this a little bit. This one's not going anywhere, really.
No, and even if
we get a deuce.
Yeah, and even if it
doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't. I think I got to throw it quiet though, because I can't angle it that way. If I do plunk off it.
Through, or do you want to throw more?
What did you throw, like back line?
Yeah. What are you thinking here?
I'm thinking easy weight.
Like bump?
No, not even that much.
Where did you give me for my back line weight?
About there.
And I just came across the face.
Yeah, and it's higher in the house now, so we have to take a little less.
Just a nose, eh?
Nose is good.
So you're playing like hack it? Or...
Yeah.
Well, the difficult thing for Saskatchewan, Don, if she comes down here, hits this one, and rolls over here, Manitoba will simply freeze to it with her last shot. What she wants to do is come down here, hit this one on the nose, drive it straight back onto this one. This red rock will move over here and stay in play. This one will go out, and she'll be lying 3. But the big thing is to sit the shot rock away from the other two, get some separation. She can't hit, of course, too far on the outside, or she'll end up leaving Manitoba lying second shot.
It's real keen, eh?
Yeah,
There you see it.
yeah. It's in the ice. I was trying to get it on.
She hits it right on the nose, Don. Could be her best shot.
The ice level view as Saskatchewan skip Sandra Stevenson, Peterson, I should say, prepares to deliver her final stone. First stone of this fourth end.
Wait, what's the weight line? Yes!
Well, she's over a little bit. That rock is starting to move a little bit more.
Will they get it past the guard?
Well, she's by the guard, but this is where it does all its curling. Is she going to get a piece of it? Oh, I think she turned it inside, Don, and it started to move on her right away.
Shoot. That wasn't an option. No. Playing too careful with it.
Well, up to this point, Peterson had
Make it right, she
a
can double
perfect
it.
game.
Yes. Do you want it in for second or just short as a guard?
Let's put short guard.
Yeah,
Force her to one.
because then if she goes for the nose hit, she'll only get a deuce if she makes the double.
Yeah.
But now, just a minute, we got to make sure it's on there perfect because we don't want her to pick it out and get 3.
Heck, you know what we could do is we could go right around that corner. If it starts to bang, cut it around. Let's put the guard up front.
Okay.
That was where I was giving Ronnie for the guard.
Okay, ask the girls what they think about this.
Okay, I think for Bonar, Don, she wants to play a guard, but she doesn't want to leave it too far out there. In about there is not a bad shot. Maybe give Saskatchewan a chance to run them. It would be a difficult shot. The further you leave the guard out, the more chance it is for Saskatchewan to come around and pick that one out. So I think in this case, the tighter the guard, the better it is for Bonar.
Well, Fowler and Bonar discussed the possibility of Saskatchewan being able to pick out that stone and get 3 on this end, and that would be disastrous.
Well, that's a pretty tough shot to pick it out and without killing one of the 2 of the back ones. The key for Bonar here is get it in the rings.
Amazing how quickly the whole end is turned around just because of the one miss.
One shot. She has a lot of weight here. They haven't laid a brush to it. She's got excellent line on this shot. So the girls better watch and maybe bring it in a little bit tighter. It's a great shot. Ah, beautiful shot by Doreen Bonar.
For that.
Just some excellent shot making on this end. One bad shot by Sandra Peterson, and she's got herself in difficulty. And that's what all it takes, on is one bad miss, and you've got major problem.
Sorry, guys, you were right. Well, I just threw it a little tight, and
That's okay. Let's make this.
half the 4 foot we need.
And it's a cold draw to the 4 foot, no backing.
This is like normal stuff.
So the sweepers are the judge of this one, Don. She's going out a little bit wider where it may be a little bit frostier. So for Marcia Gooderwright and Joan McCusker, they're going to have to decide as soon as Sandra lets it go how much weight she has.
3.5.
And they have to be careful because it's a little further out than they've been all this end. So it may be a little bit heavier here. So we have to be very, very careful.
Maureen put that tight guard in just a perfect spot, making Sandra go just a little bit farther. This is great sweeping ice, by the way. The sweepers can drag it a long, long way.
Oh, they're going to have to go on this one.
So on end number 4, it's a steal of 1 for Manitoba. And after 4 ends of play in the 1993 Scott Tournament of Hearts Championship game, Manitoba and Saskatchewan are deadlocked at 2. Maureen Bonar of Manitoba and Sandra Peterson of Saskatchewan. Replicas of the Scott Tournament of Hearts Championship trophy are presented to each member of the winning rink. Will they be going to Manitoba's Maureen Bonar or Sandra Peterson of Saskatchewan? They're playing the 5th end with the game tied at 2. Saskatchewan, as the result of a first-place finish in round-robin competition at 9-2, had last rock advantage in this championship game, and Peterson was able to capitalize, picking up a pair on the opening end. Manitoba blanked the 2nd, was forced to take one on the 3rd, and then stole one on the 4th. And now Marcia Gooderwright is attempting the removal of the Manitoba stone that is sitting just off the hog line, and she'll get a corner of it.
Well, it's really interesting, and Colleen alluded to it, that one shot changed the complexion of that whole end. Sandra Peterson, and attempting that takeout, Don kind of turned it a bit. Colleen, I'm sitting right behind the sheet here, and she rolled it a bit on the inside. And as you know, you curl on the sheet. Once you get to the center line and turn it a bit, it'll curl on you.
It will curl across that center line. And she asked Jan BETKER right away, did I turn it in? And Jan nodded yes. But the thing for Sandra Peterson now is to shake that off. It's hard when in one end you're looking good for at least a 2, possibly even a 3 if she gets the right, if she stays right there. She'd make it very difficult for Manitoba. It's hard to rebound from that because all of a sudden you're thinking you should be at 5-1 instead of tied at 2.
Yes, you certainly have to shake it off. You cannot afford to let it bother you from one end to the next.
Allison Bell's stone must have picked up something because it ground to a halt a good 10 feet shy of the hog line.
Well, sometimes it's very difficult. You're trying to place the rock in the correct position somewhere between the house and the hog line, and you just hang on a little bit too long to make sure that it's perfect, and you take too much off it. You're a little bit wider, it gets in the little heavier ice, and you hog it.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's what happened to Allison Bell.
It's so keen. You come out a little slower, and you're dragging that back leg to try to slow down some, and then you pull off too much.
Nice shot.
Is it the leg drive that determines the weight?
Well, leg drive and, the feel from your fingertips as you're sliding out. But it is leg drive that propels you out of the hack, and then you know when to release it.
I wish I knew what determined draw weight, and I have some.
There's so many factors, too, whether you're throwing it down the center, a little bit off on the outturn side, or wider ice. It becomes very, very difficult, So that's why it's nice to have the same leg drive all the time, and the release point is so much more critical.
Hurry! Hurry!
This is an interesting call by Maureen Bonar going around a corner guard when she does not have last rock.
She's not going to get there.
I think it's quite surprising because Peterson is looking for her deuce. She called for the corner guard. I think the option shot there for Maureen was to call for a center guard rather than going around the corner.
No question about it, Colleen. Of course, this is to the advantage of the Saskatchewan team because now they have 2 staggered corner guards out there. And if Saskatchewan gets it in behind, in front of the tee line, it'll make it very difficult for Manitoba to get to it. And the deuce for Saskatchewan could be set up very early in this end.
Joan's husband, Brian, was here in the early part of the week to watch her perform in the Scott Tournament of Hearts. Then he left on Wednesday for Ottawa. He curls 3rd with Randy Wojtowicz, who will be participating in the Brier that gets underway in Ottawa this evening. That's a tremendous field at this year's Brier in Ottawa, and we'll have the semifinal and the final for you. The semifinal next Saturday and the final on Sunday.
Well, it'll be a great week of curling. As you say, we've got a lot of former champions there. Defending champion Vic Peterson from Manitoba, of course. Rick Fulk from British Columbia with Pat Ryan, two-time Canadian champion throwing third stone. That'll be an interesting combination. Already proven very successful.
And that's what Manitoba wanted to do, as Lois Fowler takes play away from the two guards.
Well, you know, all through the week I've watched Fowler play, Lois. And I watched her play in the Manitoba Bonspiel. She is an amazing person to hit and roll and get your team out of trouble. And she does it time and time again. And she takes a lot of pressure off Maureen Bonar with great shots just like that.
She is a very steady shot maker. I think this is the first time ever we've seen a mother-daughter combination at the Scott Tournament of Hearts.
Good, Jan. Way to go. Shot.
Jan BETKER removes the Manitoba stone, and Saskatchewan now lies 1.
I think while this Bonar rink came in as one of the not quite an underdog, but they weren't one of the favorites coming in. And Lois was the one that had a great quote when she said, everybody that comes out of Manitoba is strong, and you know, we're going to represent the province well, and that's so true. The province has so many great curlers.
Well, many people over the last few years have offered the opinion that Manitoba is one of the toughest provinces to get out of.
It really is. We're blessed with a lot of good women curlers. And teams, solid teams from lead right down to skip. You heard Lois say, sorry girls, I just throw a little bit too much weight. She did. She just threw a little bit too much weight, and as a result hit and rolled out, giving Saskatchewan the advantage to go around those corner guards again.
Hurry! Quick! Hurry! Hard! Quick! Hurry! Hurry, hurry, hurry! Roll it! Roll it! Roll it! Okay.
A little too quiet as opposed to line. I mean, she had a little bit more weight and would have run straight. And now the advantage is Manitoba. Don, because that rock is a little closer to the center line.
Same old, I think. There.
Well, just a minute. Remember last night when you were coming around?
Well, I was giving Ronnie
here and it came to center. So there should be about right.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing, eh? Last night. Remember last night we were taking the edge of the forefoot and came to the center line. So they moved the brush in about 3 inches, and that should bury.
Well, the Manitoba women last night were kidding Lois Fowler, saying she remembers everything. 2 years ago, we played on the center sheet of the Granite Curling Club, and the ice moved 3 feet if you put the broom on the edge of the forefoot.
This rock is wet.
Now, Maureen Bonar is encountering some of the same problems with her stone that Sandra Peterson complained about earlier. The surface appears to be wet.
Yeah, what she's doing there with her hand, Don, cleaning, of course, the running surface of the rock to make sure there's no straw or hair or any kind of debris on the running surface, because it'll have a direct effect on how much the rock curls or how fast it goes down the ice. On to Fowler and Allison Bell. Rushing for long distance. She's a good-looking line if she has the weight. She's well by the guard. Now they're trying to pull it around.
That's all right. It wasn't burying, so. It's a good shot. Yeah, it wasn't burying.
And you said it. Could do that as long as they don't come across the face of it.
They definitely got room to come in there. Oops, sorry.
What's easier?
Probably just to come around.
But then her shot might be easier. She might just play the tap.
She probably will, huh?
Wonder if we tap ours to the 4-foot or draw. What do you guys like? So if I had enough weight and I just, you know, I'm thinking the in-turn draw. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, yeah, just come around here, or the out-turn tap.
It's just I don't want to tap that way. That's my only problem with that. Okay? And then we tap into leave it in the open. We have more control if we throw a draw.
So just could tap that one back, and then your shooter would
roll
guard
over
the top of the raise.
Yeah.
But then that you're playing with too many.
Yeah.
You want to just come in here?
Yeah. Okay. Should know the ice.
Sandra twice has attempted to involve other members of the rink in the decision-making.
Yellow one?
No.
Well, what she wants to do, Don, she wants to draw into this area here. The danger, of course, of doing that, and the rock pulls over too far and maybe gets over into this area, Manitoba will simply come along, not being able to get at it, raise this one into the rings and be shot rock. That's the danger of the draw, especially over the corner.
Around?
It is a tricky bump to the 4-foot, which is her option shot there.
Like
but
this?
if she gets perfectly buried here...
What if she taps straight to the 4-foot, though?
Bonar just pops hers into the 4.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
We could tap. We have to tap our own.
With that other one there, I like this better.
Do you?
Don't you? Yeah. I like this. No, you're right.
Peterson had shouted down to the front end. What do you think? And they said, it's up to you.
It's a big deal. We're in the 8-foot. She's going to be in the 4-foot.
But now she's down here. Joan McCusker is saying, well, I like this one. I like that one. You may change your mind
I'm
here.
thinking the out-turn tap.
Okay. Play the out-turn tap. Whatever you put them on.
Do you like that out-turn?
Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to throw.
Okay. All right. Let's play this then.
Let's throw one because you're wasting a lot of time on it.
Well, we have lots of time. Okay, so it's the same weight?
Yeah, it is.
The reference to time is a discussion about the 75-minute clock that was introduced into curling a few years back. I don't think during the Scott Tournament of Hearts any team was in danger of running out of time. Although, Colleen, I noticed you were down to about 38 seconds in one game.
Yeah, I think 30 seconds by the time I was finished, which surprised me because I'm never usually close.
Not finishing here. She's going to wreck on it. She really got nothing out of that shot, Don. It really never moved at all.
I think one of the problems for her, she had 2 shots in her head. She wasn't totally sure she wanted to play that shot, and so she didn't have the same confidence.
You have right there, and if you throw just a wee bit more
Didn't I
weight,
have in...
No, I had you right there.
There?
Right there, exactly. You throw a wee bit more weight, it's still going to hold because you're throwing a hit down here. It never moved.
Okay.
A hard angle.
You notice that, you know, your remark about Lois Bonner, remembering the ice and all the rocks and everything else. And Maureen Bonner really relies a lot on Lois's memory for these things.
She sure does.
And she's saying, look, this is exactly the same ice I give you the first one. You throw a little bit more weight, it's going to run absolutely straight down there. And this is a very, very
same ice.
dangerous shot because if she ever turns it in, Don, it could curl and maybe raise the red one in belonging to Saskatchewan.
Well, I'm really impressed with Lois's memory on the ice, and it gives the skip a lot of confidence when your third stone can say, look, this is what happened the last time you threw it there.
Now, the key, of course, for Maureen Bonner is to get it out there, because even if she hits a half of her rock, she's going to drive it into the rings.
All the way. Very hard. Very hard. Very hard. Very light. Good guys. Just a wing.
Well, you can hear the crowd reaction as that stone comes in across the hog line.
I knew you could afford to hit it on the outside and have it curl up.
Yeah.
As soon as the stone left her hand, a buzz started through the better than 5,000 spectators jammed into the Keystone Center for this Scott Tournament of Hearts Championship game.
I don't see anything else unless we play the tap, but I'm not...
Well, good call and an excellent execution. Now for Saskatchewan, Don, I think the only thing they have to decide now is whether they're going to play the angle raise takeout or just the straight back raise.
So we haven't really played any out-turn draws here, have we?
A lot, no.
They have to be
Does that look
careful with
okay?
this out turn
That's what you
because
wanna
it
play?
will hang
Well,
if you get
if
out.
one half doesn't the other, doesn't matter.
We talked about the hometown support for the Bonar rink. There are a lot of Saskatchewan curling fans here. Regina is about 3.5 hours west on the Trans-Canada Highway, and the Saskatchewan rink has received faxes of support, phone calls from
This is for the tap.
people all over the province of Saskatchewan,
Or we could play the hit.
including
Hit
former
3/4 of
champions
it.
Joyce McKee, Vera Pieser, Dorinda Schnalls, and the Saskatchewan Rough Rider football team.
Half full 8 we need.
Of course, the Rough Riders today are very involved in the Canadian draft taking place in Calgary, and big trade today at the draft. Damon Allen, quarterback, going from Hamilton back to the Edmonton Eskimos in exchange for 3 Canadian draft choices.
About the same weight?
Peterson throwing the raised takeout, Don. And she, along like Maureen Bonar, has to be very careful this rock doesn't curl
Wall for line.
too much onto the yellow one belonging to Manitoba.
No line, guys. No line at all.
We were saying no line.
No, it's going to hit the guard. Okay. No problem.
A steal of 1 for Manitoba on end number 5. So although Saskatchewan opened with a deuce on the first end, Manitoba has been able to steal single points on both the 4th and the 5th ends. And at the midpoint of this women's championship game at the Scott Tournament of Hearts, Manitoba has the lead.
Still ahead today, Norwegian Flash Atli Skardal tries to extend his winning ways, while Kerry Mullen carries great late-season momentum to Aspen and the men's World Cup downhill.
3-2. Manitoba leads Saskatchewan after 5 ends of play in the 1993 Scott Tournament of Hearts at the Keystone Center in Brandon, Manitoba. Better than 5,000 people watching the action, and they have been cheering over the last few ends as Manitoba has waged a come-from-behind battle to assume the midpoint lead. Maureen Bonar is standing by with Colleen Jones.
And Maureen, Don was just talking about the fans. I think you've got them back in the game. They were a little down after the 2-0 lead for Saskatchewan, but I think you've got them back now on your side.
Yeah, they're rooting for us all the way. They're giving our sweepers something to sweep about.
Does that have a negative effect if they're sweeping a draw? Is there a worry that your sweepers won't get off it when the fans get on it like that?
Well, we've told them to pay attention to sign signals at the end of the house that Lois is giving to make sure that they are concentrating on what they're doing and not going with the crowd.
Big turnaround in this game. You've been going on a stealing spree. In the 4th end, it was looking like Saskatchewan might score a 3, or at least a deuce.
Yes, it was a little bit tense there. They were set up for a perfect 2, depending on where Sander put that rock, and it seemed to work our way there.
And then you scored another single point in the 5th. What are you going to do for the rest of the game? You've got control of the game up 1.
I think we're going to keep it tight to the house and just be patient out there and wait for the breaks to happen and just see where they're going to go.
All right, Maureen. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, Colleen.
Okay, back upstairs to you, Don.
And Allison Bell is taking advantage of this break to have a bit of a snack, a little nourishment as she prepares for the final 5 ends of this 1993 championship game. Anita Ford is the 5th member of the Saskatchewan rink and also serves as a coach for the Saskatchewan squad. And now Sandra Peterson is standing by with Colleen.
Thanks, Don. Sandra, you had control of the game. It was looking like you were going to score a couple of points, at least in the 4th end, and you turned it in just a little bit?
I turned it in, and I guess there's a spot there at the center that'll move. I thought we had just a chunk of it coming into the house, but it just moved a little bit too much, Colleen.
Tough break on your last one in the 5th. That's a tricky out turn that might hang and might curl.
Well, we had to make some bigger shots in the 5th end. We had a really good chance to get around that corner, and it buries in there nice, but we just hit a spot that was a little straighter with my first one. So.
But down 1 with the hammer, you're still very much in this game. Corner guards, I guess.
Well, we've had lots of chances so far. It's just we have to finish them off with Jan and my shots, and we're going to do that in the next 5 ends.
Is the ice about the same? Maureen's talking about very sweaty bottoms on the bottom of the rock.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only difference, but it's running pretty close to the same.
All right, good luck the rest of the way,
Thanks,
Sandra.
Colleen.
Back upstairs to you, Don.
All right, Colleen and Don Duguid, as you look back on the first 5 ends of this match, that fourth end very definitely could have been and might prove to be a turning point.
Well, I really think so, because as you heard Peterson say, she turned the rock in, Don, and really took off on her. But I expect this game, and I expected right from the start, that it's going to come down to last rock, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. You heard Maureen Bonar say maybe the breaks will decide, or how Saskatchewan plays it, and I think it's going to come down to the very last rock.
Well, as we have seen, all the women participating in this championship game are capable of making any shot in the book, and we expect many great shots over the final 5 ends. But right now, let's return to Sports Weekend Control in Toronto, and here's Scott Russell.
Okay, Don, we're back to the Scott Tournament of Hearts in Brandon, Manitoba in just a moment. Good battle shaping up between Manitoba and Saskatchewan.
Don't get left in the blocks when the world's best explode onto the world stage for a track and field showdown. Stepping stone to international acclaim. The time for the world indoors is at hand. Be there for the start Friday on CBC.
Welcome back to the Keystone Center in Brandon. The folks in Western Canada have sent messages to Ottawa in the past, but this is a friendly greeting. This is the message that the curling fans in Brandon are sending to those who are gathered in Ottawa for the Labatt Brier that gets underway this evening. And they're simply saying hello, and we hope you enjoy the Labatt Brier as much as they have enjoyed the Scott Tournament of Hearts all this week at the Keystone Center. 3-2, Manitoba leads Saskatchewan as we prepare for the 6th end. Rhonda Fowler, the youngest curler in this competition, 21 years of age, the daughter of Manitoba third Lois Fowler, with her first delivery of end 6.
Rhonda was literally knocked out of action earlier in the week. Well, not earlier, but in the second last draw. Allison hit her with the broom very hard right on the forehead. She had a goose egg, which I know when we went out to play her, their fifth had to step in and play that game because she was feeling so dizzy from the welt on her forehead. Who said it wasn't a contact sport?
I think I said that Rhonda was 21. She will be 21 in October of this year. She is 20 years of age, has not yet reached her 21st birthday.
She brought her goldfish to the hotel with her, and she has named the goldfish Geneva. It didn't have a name until then. Geneva, of course, is where the World Championships are being held. So she's got a goldfish named Geneva.
I wonder if they make it to the World Championships, if the goldfish will make the trip.
Well, somebody's got to feed it.
Rhonda has really shown an amazing amount of poise through this whole week, you know, being so young, but she's very, very qualified curler. You know, it must be a real thrill for her curling with her mother and vice versa.
Rhonda is a former Manitoba juvenile women's figure skating champion, and she coaches figure skating in Souris, Manitoba, about a half-hour drive from Brandon.
It was interesting to watch the differences in the teams at the 5th end break. Manitoba very pumped up after that steal, and Saskatchewan just sitting there trying to figure out what do we do next, very glum looking.
Marcy Gooderwright removes the Manitoba stone, and her shooter hangs on the edge of the 12-foot.
We saw Allison hog a rock last end, but during the 5th end break, somebody brought her out a big meal. She was very hungry, so she sat there and ate. So I think she got her energy at least for the next 5 ends. Said she was starving. It's often hard to eat before a Canadian final. You're so nervous.
An excellent shot there. That is a difficult shot, playing a take it on the corner and rolling in towards the center. That's just a super shot.
Joan McCusker, who is certainly the most vocal of any of the members of the Saskatchewan rink, attempting the removal of the Manitoba stone, and she appears to be right on target.
So interesting enough, Sandra Peterson, the first 3 ends, Don, was curling 100%. She has now dropped down to 60. So she got off to a good start and is starting to slip a bit. Of course, she missed those 2 big shots in the 4th end, and in the 5th end didn't fare much better.
We mentioned earlier that Allison Bell is expecting her first child in June. She is a nurse. She works in the maternity ward at Brandon General Hospital.
It was kind of interesting watching Allison at the 5th end break, because not only was she eating, but she had a great big heating pad over her knee. Her knee's been giving her a bit of trouble, so she was doing it all at that 5th end break.
Cusker, who teaches grade 5 and 6 at A. Perry School in Regina, removes the Manitoba stone. Saskatchewan now lies 1.
What I'm really intrigued by in this women's game all week is the coolness of the competitors. I mean, they are just doing their job, making excellent shots. Nobody's getting excited. They're just playing very, very well, very proficient. You know, this is a pressure-packed situation because the winner of this gets to come back next year, Don, and defend the title.
Not only an opportunity to win a world championship, but as you said, to come back next year and defend. There was some debate when the decision was made in women's curling to allow the champion to come back the next year and defend, but I think even the men now are beginning to think a little about it.
Well, they're thinking about it. They're not quite convinced that getting right to the Canadian Championship is the way to go. They may look at maybe going to the provincial playdowns, buy right into the provincials, which would be kind of nice.
Interestingly enough, for the Brier this year, Vic Peters is back at it, but he had to work extremely hard to get there, unlike Connie Lalaberty, who, because she was a Canadian champion, came right back. But I think what bringing the Canadian champ back to the Scott does is really raise the profile of women's curling. I mean, look at this event this week. Sold out, record crowds. People knew Connie Lalaberty was curling in it. They bought their tickets. They wanted to see her play. I think the same would happen at the for the men.
Because if it is, they're just going to
I agree with you. I really do.
You have a full year to promote that person and your sport. And you've got an automatic draw.
That's exactly right. And not only that, when you win the Canadian Championship, you know, there's a lot of demand on your time for appearances overseas when you go to the Worlds, cash bond spiels that they want you to participate in. And, you know, you really don't concentrate on your hometown curling, so it is a little bit of a detriment. And I know you're speaking of Vic Peters. He fought back from elimination in his own playdowns. He lost out. Had to go through the Manitoba bond spiel where there was 600 entries. He was on one leg there and made it. He was one leg in the provincial playdowns and made it. So, I mean, he had a tough road to hoe.
Lois Fowler puts her stone behind cover. The only 2 rocks in play.
Wait, guys.
The Saskatchewan rock sitting just inside the hog line, and the Manitoba shot stone in the 8-foot.
I'm not sure with any kind of weight here if this is going to come enough. I know it's a very long guard, but...
Well, if you look back to the 4th end, it will curl if you get inside that center line. It's a lot of movement to the boards. Oh, look at that. Oh, what an excellent shot.
Great shot.
Oh, beautiful shot. Just squeezed by the guard, and you're right, great brushing made that shot.
Thanks.
Oh, wait, does that really move the cross?
Between there?
Look at the forward to roll over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's high guard.
You heard Maureen Bonar say it's a high guard, which means the guard is way out front, Don, so there's lots of room to go by the guard by 3 or 4 inches and hit this rock and roll to the center.
No, see, half.
But if the rock is closer to the rings, you cannot afford to go by the rock by 3 or 4 inches, or you may miss it altogether.
Can't go by that one.
Well, Jan Becker just got by that guard by a hair.
Weight is such a big factor. Maureen Bonar, she wants to make sure she has nice carrying weight, not too hard. She's well out there. She's going to miss the guard by a good 5-6 inches. Is it going to make contact? Start to move now. Oh, she just cornered it. Just a piece of it.
And she breathes a sigh of
That's
relief.
that same spot as last night, eh? Sorry. I think you're there for that thing. It's quite a ways out. Yeah.
Don, we've heard a couple of references to ice conditions and spots in the ice as being the same as last night.
Wait, same?
Is there an advantage to playing the semifinal on the same sheet?
Well, I think there is, but you know, you played the whole week on all the sheets. And normally in arena ice, all sheets run the same, Don, because the flooring on the underside of it is the same all over. So all the sheets should run fairly close.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what she's trying to do is pull it in and over a little bit more in this area here, Don. She wants to get fully behind the guard, but more importantly in front of the tee line so that Maureen cannot come down and make contact.
Don, you were just talking about, you know, whether or not in the semifinal and knowing the ice is an advantage. I think it seems to be a huge advantage because you're able to think back, remember the exact same shot that you played just the night before. Also the fact that a lot of the curlers joke about the bye to the finals almost a kiss of death.
That's right, Colleen. If they played a couple of shots on there last night, they know exactly how it's going to react, and I agree with that.
Well, Sandra Peterson knew how this shot was going to react, and she must have been watching your telestrator, Don, because she put it exactly where you positioned the stone.
Well, where she's put it, Don, I don't think Maureen Bonar can play the hit. She has to kind of corner freeze it because it's actually on the inside of the guard. Just a beautiful shot. And there you see it, Don. You see it's almost tucked on the inside. So I don't think she can play the hit. She might be able to come and just catch a corner of it.
She clear that guard by? Okay.
So now this is a weight shot for Maureen Bonar. She can just play maybe back ring weight, just enough to move that rock out of the rings. She doesn't have to push it very far. But remember, it's a little bit frosty over there.
Well, she's playing the corner free, so she doesn't want to bounce at all.
Yep, yep. Cutting, hurry, hurry hard.
You heard Maureen say it's starting to cut.
Hurry, come on, hurry.
They're going to have to work to get it past the guard.
Well, I think she's by the guard, but I don't know whether she's got enough weight to get the corner freeze. She's got a great looking shot on there, pressing it hard. It's going to pull over too much, I think.
A great sweeping job, but the stone cut just a little too much. And Saskatchewan lies one.
What beautiful weight thrown by Maureen Bonar. The ice beater that time, Don. You see, with nice, great draw weight, she come around, and the rock just pulled a fraction too much. And that's why I said that Sandra Peterson put that rock in a perfect position, her first one.
Same weight in this spot, I think, eh? Same weight in this spot.
Well, Don, you always say this game is a game of inches.
Let's make it, guys. Let's go. Let's go, guys.
That shot really proves it because she really threw it as well as she possibly could.
Well, you can't ask for a better shot by Maureen Bonar, but you know, if you're talking about percentages, how many points do you give her for that shot? Colleen?
Well, you would give her 0 because, well, maybe could you give her ½ a point because at least Sandra's got to hit fully.
That's right. That's exactly right. You would give her 1 out of the 4 points if you're on the 4-point system.
Whoa, 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 looks like one. No, it's not. Hey, go then, go if you need it. Help!
Well, when Sandra let the rock go, her reaction would indicate that she was concerned about the weight. There was no problem with weight at all as the stone came to the 4-foot. And Saskatchewan picks up a pair on the 6th end to move into a 4-3 lead in the 1993 Scott Tournament of Hearts Championship game. Well, beginning tonight, the curling spotlight will focus on Ottawa, and we'll have the Brier semifinal next Saturday and the Brier final a week tomorrow on CBC Sports Weekend. But at the moment, we are following seventh end action in the Scott Tournament of Hearts, with Saskatchewan leading Manitoba by a score of 4-3.
You know, that were just two great shots by Sandra Peterson. The first one especially made an absolutely outstanding draw around the corner guard. Couldn't have put it in a better position. Of course, Bonar made a great attempt at the rock. Unfortunately for her, just curled a fraction too much, or she would have made the corner freeze that she was trying. And of course, a free draw for Sandra Peterson right in the fourth. And it's always nice in the seventh end, you know, Don, when you play a draw and you can put it in the exact position that you want. It gives you a great amount of confidence.
Last year, McCusker teamed with her husband Brian and with Sandra Peterson to participate in the Canadian Mixed Championships in Grand Prairie. This year, the mixed is being held in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Doogie, your son is going to be there.
Yes, he is, and I want to wish him all the best. An excellent team.
And there's another rink that's going to be there.
Yes.
From Nova Scotia.
Colleen, the lovely Colleen, is going to be there curling with her husband, and it's just going to be great. Colleen, we want to wish you all the best.
And we're really going to put it to Dugan, too, I might add.
Yeah, well, it'll be a great game. I want you to phone me.
Hurry hard.
I want to know who's skipping that Nova Scotia rink.
Not me. I'm quiet as a mouse.
That I find hard to believe.
Anyway, an attempt to come around the corner guard. Allison Bell, she had the correct weight, but I think maybe she may have put it a little bit inside, and it really curled there.
She's having a hard time with her draws. You know, 2 ends ago, she hogged one, and then she overcurled on the next one. And this one, good weight, but she overcurled on it.
You know, and they're all on the next sheet. Lois, Rhonda, and Allison, they're just talking about it. Saying, how was I? Was I inside the room? Did I let it go, or did I turn it? You can see now that Saskatchewan widening the ice quite a bit. She's on the edge of the board, but trying to get a rock to the center line. Walking off the 4-foot area.
She had started at the end trying to peel those corner guards, but once you get a couple of noses, you kind of say, forget it, let's go for the steal.
Yes, it was an opportunity, you know, and a lot of players may have said, okay, let's go around the corner guard, and if we don't get into the rings, we at least stop short, we cut it off, that area. But, you know, the danger, of course, is that you slip behind the tee line, and then the other team freezes to it, and your strategy goes right out the window. So Marine is going to elect to run that one off in the front, which is a good call.
Okay, if you go over here, that's okay.
You know, Colleen, you talked earlier about Allison Bell nailing Rhonda Fowler with her broom, putting her out of commission for the final end of one game and the final game of the round-robin competition. As they were getting ready for the zones this year, Maureen was telling us that they were coming out of the hotel and Allison fell down the stairs and had a problem with her foot, and they were really concerned whether or not she would be able to participate in the zone play now. She also banged up her knee, and you talked earlier about applying a heating pad to her knee.
Just a little accident prone, I guess.
Okay, good.
Now that rock is over a little bit. You can see there's a pretty big opening between the rock on the center line, just straddling the center line, and the Manitoba rock. There may be an opportunity here, and it depends on what Marine's going to call, but I may go around the corner guard.
I'd say entry.
We'll play it tight. If you split, okay. It's a good shot.
Doesn't seem to be able to. It's straight.
It's exactly the same ice that Lois Fowler gave Maureen Bonar in the 5th end. To try and draw around one almost in the same position on the center line. So it runs very, very straight and should finish at the end, depending on weight.
Lots of weight? Yeah. That's it?
She's well by the guard. How's her weight?
Too much.
Well, you feel awful when you do that. It's no help when it's back there.
Well, you know, that's right. Colleen, if you're in front of the house on the center line, you completely cut off the forefoot. But the cardinal sin, of course, is not going through. If you go through the house, the rock is useless. But if at least in your front, you at least cover some of the forefoot.
Yeah, you can't score many points against the back buffer.
No, it's very difficult.
Saskatchewan's going to try to come around here on the out-turn side to avoid Manitoba being able to pick and roll on the in-turn side. That and the fact I think a lot of the curlers noticed that Manitoba's out-turn was a little weak for Lois Fowler. You'll be able to see her handle on this.
Jan BETKER with a beautiful shot as she came to rest in the top of the 4. Saskatchewan lies 1.
Well, that's just an excellent shot. And now I don't think Manitoba has any chance other than to maybe run the 2 back.
Put your broom in front.
On the in-turn?
Put your broom up here.
Okay, okay.
She wants to hold the broom up front as opposed behind the rock. Can't see it, but she holds it back there. And Lois Fowler is going to attempt to run the front one off and hopefully make contact with the back one.
Quick. Right up. Hurry. Right up.
Now they're just trying to peel it off.
And the shooter rolls over to eliminate another Manitoba stone. Saskatchewan leading 4-3, continues to lie 1. We don't have a crowd count for today, but attendance for the week, 88,022.
Can't leave it
and this betters the record that was set in Saskatoon by 16,000.
Oh, that's what a great compliment to the city of Brandon and all the citizens, the officials, the curlers, the reporters. Just a super job.
Well, I'm just remembering back
Yes,
to
the people of southwestern Manitoba have certainly responded
you can't hit me,
to the big curling event of the year in Brandon.
Want to for sure guard the
2 years from now, they have the World Curling Championship here. And can you imagine this place then? It's just going to be a repeat.
At least halfway guard. Not too tight, though.
When you talk about the attendance, too, if you think of other women's sports, there aren't that many that would draw this kind of crowd for a full week. To have 88,000 for a week.
Same keen stuff.
Well, I think that's a tribute to the improvement in the caliber of play in women's curling.
No question about it. It's just a delight to watch these women curl all week long. They're just great ambassadors of the game, great ability. You can't believe the ability of some of these women curlers. The sweeping dog, but they want this rock to finish. Wow, look at that. There's the toughest shot in curling, and she just made a perfect job. Look at that. Absolutely covered the rock in the forefoot completely. There's no room to get it on the in-turn side or the out-turn side.
Might spin off that ribbon.
Yeah. Okay, why don't we go for the peel first then?
Maureen's father intently watching the action as he has been all week here at the Keystone Center.
Look at the straight back foot peel.
Over the years, he's spent a lot of time in this facility watching son Dan play hockey, and then progressed to the National Hockey League with the Los Angeles Kings, and a lengthy career that also took him to a number of stops in the American Hockey League.
Is it dead? That's all it is.
It is very difficult watching your daughter curl, let me tell you.
Well, you went through that with daughter Jill a couple of years ago at the Junior Women's Championship. in Alberta. You had the difficult task of commentating on the shot she was making and at the same time wanting to yell out instruction.
That was difficult, but it was really enjoyable. You know,
Max
you could see
is a
her.
bite, eh? Same thing.
I know it's the same thing sitting in the stands. I know Mr. Bonar is living and dying with every shot, and he knows how Marine reacts to certain situations, and he can see things developing in Marine maybe that somebody else can.
Exactly the same thing. Same weight, everything.
Of course, for Sandra Peterson, the
Max,
exact
get it
same
to bite.
shot, which is kind of nice, Don, because you know how the rock is going to react if you hit the broom. Just a question of weight.
Well, Sandra's parents have been here all week as well.
Same weight.
They've been following every shot she has played in every game.
Line's good. Wolf, just clean, guys. Where is it? Left weight. Ball. That line's good.
Ball, line's good.
Halfway or deeper? On its own.
Ball.
Got a bite?
Yeah. Ball. Just a bite.
Yeah, get a bite.
Just ball.
No. Whoa.
A little deeper than she wanted, Don, but a pretty good shot because Marine Bonar is going to have to make a play on that front one and hope to make the double.
I turned around through down here and got the roll, and you gave it half the route, didn't you?
Can't go well on this. Can't go well on this. Kind of crank that one.
It's usually Boucher has been straight. You're taking there for that draw. Remember that one was, oh, what did we feel? Internal curl up?
Inside.
The difficult part here for Marine Bonar, Don, is the rock she is attempting to hit is on the center line. And if she throws the in-turn, it may move because it's on that center line as opposed to the other side of the center line. It runs very, very straight if you're outside the line. You get to the line, it may curl on her. And I think that's what's really concerning her. She hits it a little bit on the inside. She'll make the double. If she hits it a little bit on the high side or a half a rock, she will make the double the other way.
The final rock of the 7th end. Saskatchewan lies 2. Saskatchewan leads 4-3.
See, this rock is cutting on her, Don. She's going to be hard-pressed to hit the top one.
Okay.
So it's a steal of 1 for Saskatchewan. After falling behind at the midpoint by a score of 3-2, Saskatchewan came back with 2 on the 6th, and with a steal of 1 in the 7th, Saskatchewan leads by 2. In addition to engraving their name on the Scott Trophy, members of the winning rink received replicas of the trophy and also gold rings in the 4-heart design set with a .33 carat diamond. They will represent Canada at the World Championships in Geneva. They take place March 27th to April 4th. And of course, the winning team comes back to next year's Scott Tournament of Hearts in Kitchener as Team Canada.
Well, I think that's a real plus, you know. When you talk about pressure situations, and I'm sure these women are not thinking about this at this time, but to get back to defend your title is very, very important and a real plus.
5-3, Saskatchewan leads Manitoba in this championship game at the Keystone Center in Brandon.
Well, I think we're getting down to the real final crunch of this game, and I think Manitoba is really going to have to pull out all stops, throw up the corner guards. They have to get 2 to get back in this game. And they need either a miss or a nose hit on a corner guard, and they'll get that 2 established.
Well, there's the miss you were referring to as Joan McCusker slides past the Manitoba Stone, sitting halfway between house and hog line.
Maureen Bronner's going to throw up another corner guard. What she's saying by doing this, she could come around and draw into the house, but Saskatchewan would just run off the corner guard. Then Manitoba would have to draw into the rings, maybe with their last 6 rocks, and hope that they make 6 perfect draws and or 5 perfect hits to score their 2. What Bonner's doing now, she's throwing up another corner guard. She's saying to Saskatchewan, okay, I'm throwing up another corner guard. I want your team to waste rocks running these corner guards up. And then maybe with my third person's Lois Fowler's first rock or her last rock, she'll go around one of those corner guards. Conversely, Don, you know, maybe Peterson with 2 corner guards up and say, well, I can't get them off. I'll just throw up a center guard and try to steal another point.
Allison Bell delivers a corner guard over on the other side of the center line. And that's the stone that Sandra Peterson has asked. Well, no, she's changing her mind now. Joan McCusker was settled in the hack.
Well, Colleen, you're down 2 points. You're playing the 8th end. There's 2 corner guards up. You're 2 points ahead. What do you call?
Well, I think I'd keep peeling. Yeah, the worst thing, you know, if she gives up a deuce this end, that's not that bad. What she doesn't want to do, which is often the case once you have 2 corner guards up, is you risk giving up a 3.
That's exactly right. And not only that, she can accomplish the same thing by hitting this rock here and rolling to the center line, as opposed to putting on the center line down. Pretty nice roll, Colleen, and she's taken off the draw around the corner guard on the other side. That's a perfect curling shot.
Nice shot.
Moment of redemption for Joan McCusker, who attempted to peel a Manitoba stone with her first rock on this 8th end, but now her shooter is the shot stone.
Okay, you gotta play. It's on the rings. Still got a corner there.
Just hit and roll.
Sorry.
And because it's on the rings, as you heard Maureen Bonner say, she has to play it.
Down weight. Don't overthrow.
That's exactly right. That's just an excellent curling shot. Great control, beautiful roll, and really takes a little bit of the offense out of Manitoba's game here.
That was the great thing about the roll, because while Maureen wants to start drawing and get something going, she also doesn't want to be forced into a position where she only gets 1 this end. Well, that's a great shot there, because it's very splittable.
Not only that, when you're down 2 points, you want to get back in the game. You're trying to manipulate the rocks in a position where you can try and score 2. You don't want to be doing that by playing takeouts. You want to be doing it by maybe drawing around rocks. As you know, Colleen, if you get half a rock and roll away, you sometimes spoil the whole end.
Okay. Now she can go around.
The edge still belongs to Jan Betker. 88% as opposed to the 70% of Lois Fowler.
You hear Lois Fowler would say down at the other end, is that rock on? And Bonner has indicated that she was going to take it off. Now she's elected to draw around it.
Need our deuce.
You hear Lois Fowler down at the other end, we need our deuce.
It's 26 sweeping.
Lois Fowler, a real estate sales lady when she isn't curling. Said she's had pretty good years, sold 8 houses so far, including 2 to members of her rank.
Lois has got a good looking shot here. Just has to get a little bit more finish to the rock.
Sandra Peterson wasted little time in positioning her broom for Jan Betker.
Want to throw hack? Not doesn't move a whole lot here. I think we better go this way. Is that okay?
Okay.
Or I think we better do this.
Okay, Jan, throw it good. Okay, hack weight, eh?
You're going to say, come on, Jan, throw it good.
Do you ever talk to yourself during the course
Lots of times. Lots of times. You're reassuring yourself you don't want to overthrow it, because if you overthrow it, the rock is going to hang on you and you're going to miss it.
The danger, I suppose, is if you start answering.
Yeah, that's true.
She's sweeping it so that she was worried it was going to kiss it behind the guard even more. So she had them sweep it at the last second, but I don't think they expected that weight from Jan.
No, she really overthrew it, Colleen. She had board weight or a little bit better. And you cannot afford to throw it with that kind of weight.
Okay. These fans are pissing me off. Oh, don't worry about that, Jan. Well, they don't need to count when I miss. That's brutal. Yeah, that's okay.
We have two options here. You can go around, come around the same way.
It's you can easily
or else
get
you
to
can go
that.
outside. Okay, why don't we go around and plant one right on top of it again?
Or half around the red one, 12 foot.
Yep.
Did the sweepers sweep that at all? I don't think they did.
No.
So I gotta throw it up once.
Okay. Same ice.
You can easily get that.
Right now. I think she has to make her move now.
You didn't brush that at all, did you?
But just a question of where she wants to put it.
Well, you can easily get that. Rather than split the hose, I think we
The
should
danger here, of course, is that
just 12 foot though this time.
she puts the rock in too close, Don. She can put it there, but if the rock ever comes into this position where she leaves a double for Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan could get out of the end. If anything, she should maybe be just in front of the rings, at least maybe get a chance to hit and roll it with another rock. But the worst case scenario for Lois Fowler is, of course, setting up the double.
Yeah, this is when you don't want to be wide on and you don't want to be inside the broom.
Tight.
You'll rack on the guard.
Tight, stay close. Where is it? Room, lots. Where is it?
You better say, what about a split? Obviously, she's still a long way out there.
Come on.
She wants to split it. She doesn't want to sit beside it. A little bit of a break there for Lois Fowler. I mean, they should have maybe worked on that one a little bit harder halfway between the house and the hot line.
I lost my balance coming out on that.
Yeah. That's too bad. It was just a tad heavy.
Oh, man, that's hot. It's being there. Better than rolling over there.
Yeah.
You just play and roll the center line is good.
Yeah. I don't think the double's there. It's too thin.
Yeah, we want to make sure our shooter stays around here somewhere, because she's going to come right in there again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
play this way for the double. That's so thin.
Well, we don't need the double, though.
Yeah. I'm going to throw bumpery-ish weight, sort of.
Bumper, like I had bumper, right? And it didn't move enough to hit that and flop there with that ice, right?
Well, yeah, I gave you this much ice. No, yeah, I gave you that much ice for hack weight. This is pretty straight here. Last time I threw it tight, right?
Well, yeah, but you're throwing bump right.
She's referring to the
Just
fourth end.
hit like 3/4 and plunk.
Remember the fourth end when she turned it a little bit inside, Donna, and really took off on her?
Plunk in front. I like it.
That's what's in the back of her mind. She's very concerned
Don't plunk too hard.
She wants to make sure that she gets out to the broom and hits it and rolls over.
Well, not that.
She doesn't want to turn it in.
Well, it was the fourth end where it looked as though Saskatchewan might pick up 2, maybe even 3. And
she turned it inside.
Turned it inside with her first stone, and as a result, Manitoba stole 1.
It'll be good. Yeah. Bumper weight.
There's even room between. I don't know if there's room between those two rocks, Don, but it looks like a rock could go through the center of both of them. That would be disastrous for Saskatchewan. But if she hits it thin, I'll tell you, she'll make the double, and she'll be in great shape. Very, very tricky. Too tough a shot. She's just going to play.
Is it Bob? Whoa!
Trying to hit and flop.
Watch it! No! Well, no.
A lot of weight on this one.
Okay.
He's going to roll just slightly away from the shot stone, sitting behind cover.
Was it? That was normal weight.
Yeah, I know. I was chickened out from the last one.
Yeah, throw easy weight. Control weight. Yeah, it won't come up until the end, eh?
No, this is where we were taking those draws, just to go over to
You
here.
even just have to roll to there, eh?
Just control them all. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep.
she's trying to do, Don. She's trying to come in here, hit this one, and get a little bit of a roll over into this area, behind this guard.
Nice
That's the
takeaway.
critical part. Even if she hits and sits there, it's not bad.
It isn't coming up. Take it the other
But
way.
if she, that's right, if she's going to get the roll it behind cover. If she's not going to get the roll it the other way. Get some separation between those two rocks. But if she's going to score 3 this end, she has to get the perfect roll here to the inside. She's well out there. Well, that rock is not breaking at all for her. Is her shooter going to hang around?
Been dangerously close to moving the Saskatchewan stone onto her own shot rock.
Normal. Flared it, eh?
That's way too much. I'm thinking about there. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Now you heard Sandra
There's a rock
Peterson
there.
say there's
two
nothing
rocks
wrong
there.
with that. Because even if she doesn't get shot rocked on and she gets it into the top of the forefoot, how does Manitoba get 2? She's completely cutting off the forefoot. I mean, it'd be great if she come around that corner guard and froze to that Manitoba rock.
We got line.
But even if she stops in front, it's going to be tough for Manitoba to get 2.
Shot rock, but T-line gets a shot rock.
There are always a couple of shots you'd like to have back after every game, and that one for
Heavy isn't
Maureen
an
might
option
be
here.
it.
Better off to, you know, come top 8. Yeah.
Saskatchewan lost just 2 games during round-robin competition to Quebec and Alberta.
Thanks, Scotty.
Wall for line. Wall for line, guys. Wall for line. Where's the weight? It needs it for T-line. Oh, no, it's okay. We're way out here still. Okay. No, you can't. Okay. It's got lots of weight. Yeah, it's lots.
Boy, that rock is not curling at all. Her weight is almost perfect, on maybe a fraction strong.
Anita Ford, who is the 5th on the Saskatchewan rink and also serves as coach. Very
Tossed it out in
anxious
the
as
weeds.
she watches play.
That wasn't an option.
You heard Sandra Peterson say, I tossed it out in the weeds. And she got out, as we refer to it, a little bit of the mud side. And it stayed right there.
That was 24, eh, Ronnie?
Yeah, what do you say?
I'm just throwing, just to be there. No, just back ring. Just make sure it's there, okay?
An opportunity for Maureen Bonar with her final stone of the 8th end to tie this 1993 Scott Tournament of Hearts Championship game at 5.
She wants to make sure she's not too heavy on this one, or that'll hang here too.
Weight is such a critical factor. She's way out there still, but her weight is going to save her. She's got nice controlled back ring weight and starting to come over now. Super shot.
Well, the crowd at the Keystone Center in Brandon like it. And with 2 ends remaining in this championship game, Manitoba and Saskatchewan are deadlocked at 5. The curling fans in Brandon anticipated this Manitoba-Saskatchewan battle would be a good one. And they've enjoyed it. And wherever you're looking in this afternoon on CBC Sports Weekend, we hope you're enjoying our coverage of the final game in the Scott Tournament of Hearts.
Well, a very aggressive end there played by Manitoba, Don, and they succeeded in getting around the corner guard, scored their 2 points. And we've got a curling game. No kidding. This is going to be exciting. You know, we said earlier it's going to come down the last rock, and there's no question in my mind that's exactly what's going to happen. And it could be a break that decides this game. Both teams are very, very equal, made some excellent shots.
What are the nerves like right now?
Oh, I'm sure they're getting a little thin because this is a tough, tight game. You know, Manitoba's decided, well, we're going to try and steal another point. We've been fairly successful at stealing points. We're going to put them out in front. We're going to ignore the corner guard. And that corner guard will come into play, Don, as the end progresses.
Marcy Gooderwright removes the Manitoba stone and also takes one of her own stones out of play. Allison Bell, the Manitoba second, is looking at an empty house.
I'm sure Manitoba would love to try to either steal one or force Saskatchewan to take one in this end and have the advantage of last draw coming home. That one hung quite a bit for them.
Starting to make a move onto the center line. That's good position, but Saskatchewan cannot afford to leave that rock sitting there. And they don't make him down to Manitoba drawing around that corner guard. Maureen Bonar maybe with her last rock and forcing Saskatchewan to take one.
And Joan McCusker removes the Manitoba stone. Five, Manitoba and Saskatchewan.
You know, the determination on both these teams is just unbelievable. Boy, they concentrate and they're determined. They're in the game every rock, every rush. Unbelievable how capable they are.
Allison Bell again places the center guard. Canada's skaters, led by World Pairs medalists Isabelle Brasseur and Lloyd Eisler, perform in Prague, site of Canada's greatest skating success ever, at the World Championships beginning March 9th at 7 local time. A lot of activity on CBC television on the ice with the final in the Scott Tournament of Hearts, the Brier semifinal and final from Ottawa next Saturday and Sunday, and of course figure skating competition, hockey action tonight, the Winnipeg Jets and the Toronto Maple Leafs. It all comes your way on CBC television. Hockey fans in Vancouver tonight will get to see the Vancouver Canucks against the Hartford Whalers. Lois Fowler attempting to play another guard, but it is, well, is it going to get there? No.
Now, Colleen, there are some skips may decide to run off the corner guard and try and blank this end, and or going around and trying to score their 2 points. What do you favor in this situation?
I think it's a good move. The corner guards there, go around, try for your 2 now.
Absolutely. Sometimes 2 develops into 3. But I think you got to make the opposing team make a lot of good shots. There's just wide open draws or wide open hits. So I think this is a good call.
Yeah, you have to keep the pressure on the other team all the time. And if she elected to run that corner guard, well, Manitoba's just going to put the center guard up.
The key, of course, is burying the rock and she's well by the front one.
And deep, too.
And really a lot of ice. That's about the 3rd rock I've seen come over there. And they seem to be giving a lot of ice to get around that guard. They're missing the guard by about 1.5 to 2 feet. So, Colleen, do you think they're giving too much ice on the out-turn side?
No, the rock will eventually snap. But if you get stuck on center line for a while, it just hangs there.
And if you get inside the center line, it really moves.
Yeah.
We're just being a little bit cautious. There's Fowler playing the out turn.
And she shakes the play slightly away from that corner guard with a bit of a roll to the forefoot.
That's 3 times she's done it this game. You know, rather than hit and stay there behind the tee line where the other team can freeze her, Lois has always come up big, hit and roll.
Right away from that corner. That's all right. Sorry, my first one noticed it was the same way as Allison's.
Do that like sausage. Whoa. 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 Whoa.
This one on the center line.
Close. Yep. Close. Yep.
Hanging straight now should finish pretty good.
Quick. Okay. Shot.
A nose hit. Saskatchewan lies 1.
Like that. Down weight. I don't just like that. Well,
Sandra Peterson and Jan BETKER are playing in their 3rd Canadian Women's Championship. They were with Kathy Fallman in 1987 in Lethbridge.
Okay, you have the center line.
And Peterson was the skip of the rink in 1991 in Saskatoon. Maureen Bonar's first stone of the 9th end.
Whoa! Yeah! Hurry! Roll it! Come on! Roll it! Hurry!
Oh, almost a great roll. Did have swept it all the way down the ice. She had a perfect roll behind that corner guard. But it's such a dangerous spot, Don, because if you sweep and it bellies out on you or falls back, you may hit and roll away and leave the other team a chance to draw behind the guard.
I thought we might have had it. It was coming nice. Well, it was coming good, and then it drifted back, and then, you know, it only dropped back. That had only like half of it. And it curled up again. So it was irritating.
Do you want to go behind there, or do you want to roll away?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. What do you feel like?
Well, if we roll behind there, behind the tee line.
Then we're coming home.
Yeah, that's my blanket.
That's right.
Sandra confers with other members of her rink, but they leave most of the decision-making up to her.
Do you want to try it?
No.
No?
It's going to be behind the tee.
Okay, let's just throw a good one here.
Okay, hit and roll your way then, Mars.
Yeah, I think you got to make contact with the rock first and then worry about the roll later. And Jan BETKER just said, nope, just play the straight takeout. We'll worry about the roll when it gets down here.
Off! No, never! Not at all, Marcy. No, not at all.
She wants to save her shooter.
Oh, she'll roll away over to the corner. That's a good shot, boy. For a long time, it was very questionable whether she was going to make contact. Made a good move at the end, though.
Thought I woofed it.
Nice shot. It just comes really nice there at the end, hey? I was a little bit worried myself for a minute. I just assumed it'd be tied up coming home with the hammer.
Yeah, it's just I have to make it, though. That's...
Well, yeah, but if we roll there and she freezes to it, then we have to take one, same thing, so... Yeah. That's gonna take my chances trying this.
Try and blank it.
She's got a hit and stick, too.
So Maureen Bonar wants to hit and stay with this stone.
Well, she definitely wants to hit and stay for Saskatchewan to hit. Maybe they'll hit it on the nose and take a point, and they really don't want to. This is a good shot by Maureen Bonar.
You don't get the hit and or I could throw it really hard. Do that.
Whatever you're most comfortable with.
Just gotta make sure we get it.
Yeah.
Does that look okay? I'll throw up weight.
With up weight?
Yeah. It's probably what I take for the nose, so.
Okay.
Well, she's played the whole end for this blank.
Yes, says Jan
Want to go this
BETKER
way to blank?
said
Have to throw up weight.
Yeah, don't move here.
she wouldn't mind having the hammer, being tied, heading home.
No, that's a good position to be in. You'd like to be one up coming home, but with last rock, but hammer. Anytime you control a game with your last rock, you have a decided edge.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you heard Sandra say, I'm going to throw a little up weight, which means a little more than a normal takeout, hoping to roll her shooter off. And sometimes that can prove to be a little bit disastrous.
No.
She's got a nose hit, it would appear. So Saskatchewan takes a 1-point lead, but Manitoba will have last rock advantage.
12.5 minutes left, so make sure you're ready in the half to throw. Okay? Keep it clean. Keep it clean. You got last rock. Okay?
You want 2 or do you want 1? 2.
Yes, as Maureen said, we want 2 on this 10th end. And she was also reminding the other members of her rink that they have 12.5 minutes remaining on their time clock. So don't waste any time with your deliveries.
Well, they got lots of time to complete the end on, but the big thing she said is keep it clean, meaning sweep the rocks. I don't want to lose this game. If I'm going to lose it, I certainly don't want to lose it to a hair under the rock or a missed shot because of bad sweeping. But please keep the rock clean, and she's so right.
Saskatchewan's going to try to take this one through now, which was very alert sweeping, because the last thing you want to do is just have it behind the tee line for Manitoba to freeze to.
That's disaster. Of course, now
identical time remaining, and of course, once the other team's stone comes to rest, that's when the opposition clock starts.
Yes, each team has 75 minutes to finish the game. It's really helped curling. It's only come into play the last couple of years, the time clocks, but it speeds up the game. There's no more of those 3.5-hour games.
And for Saskatchewan, Don, this is a tough type of game, Colleen, to play. The defensive game, trying to run all the corner guards, because you can make 7.5 perfect shots and the other team could score 2. By I mean 7.5 shots, maybe hitting a rock and maybe just rolling slightly to the boards, and the other team draws around it. So it's a tough game for Saskatchewan to play, and it's very nerve-wracking for Manitoba.
Marcy Gooderite going after that Manitoba stone. She breathes a sigh of relief, and her husband Kerry, who is watching the action, I'm sure does as well. We talk about the pressure on all the curlers or their spouses sitting in the stands. It's every bit as anxious.
This will show you how fast the ice is, Don. As soon as Rhonda lets it go from the hog line to where she released it to where it stops, will tell you how keen the ice is. Now, keen ice is usually 23 to 24 seconds. Keen means, of course, that it's very fast, very slippery. Now, that rock is not in the rings, and it's just stopped. Now it's 23.1, so this ice is running 24.5 seconds.
Has it been that way all week, Colin?
Yeah, 25 seconds to the tee line is about 24.5 to the tee line is about right.
I think a straight peel is better, but
very slick. It also seems to glide a lot going this way.
Straight peel.
Now here's Sandra Peterson say straight peel. She wants no rocks in play, which indicates that she is playing for the extra. She wants no rocks around at all.
Excellent shooting. Well, Joan McCusker does her job.
And you know, the nice thing about this ice, if you are peeling rocks, you could take ice right on the edge of the rock, throw normal takeaway weight, and they'll run very, very straight. So it makes running guards off a little bit easier. Of course, if there's a big swing in the ice, it's much more difficult to peel rocks off because the rock is curling no matter how hard you throw.
Oh, leave it high.
Manitoba lies 1. 6-5 Saskatchewan leads. We're playing the 10th end of the Scott Tournament of Hearts Championship game at the Keystone Center in Brandon.
They might have wanted to sweep that one and try to get it just behind the tee line so that if Saskatchewan were to nose it, it would be an easier freeze than the top house freeze.
Well, I'm sure they would have liked it either there, Colleen, or out in front. But any rock and play is bad for Saskatchewan, no matter whether it's in front of the tee line, behind the tee line, on the corners, where it is. Even that one there, there's a chance that they could catch a piece of the 12-foot on the tee line and still be partially buried.
Joan McCusker wanted the shooter to hit the sideboards and roll out of play, but it stopped an inch or two away.
You see where Maureen Bonar's putting this rock down. She's putting it on the other side. I might be more tempted to put it on the same side as that one of the boards, because if they hit it, they may drive it onto that one of the boards. But a good call by Bonar, because she is mixing up the sides that Saskatchewan is shooting at. First on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side.
Not quite enough to catch the rings,
but a good shot. Excellent shot.
Maureen Bonar looking for a nose hit. You heard her say to the 3 other members of her rink as this end got underway, she was playing for 2 all the way on end number 10. Jan Betker removes the Manitoba stone. The shooter rolls on through. 7 rocks remain to be delivered on the 10th.
Now for Maureen Bonar, I would put the rock on the other side of the sheet and make Jan Betker throw maybe the in-turn or the out-turn on it on a different piece of ice. Boy, this is thrilling. Let me tell you. This is where you have to have nerves of steel.
The other shot you might want to try once a team is healing as well as Saskatchewan is this end is to put it in the house behind the tee line, because sometimes you get a nose hit once it's in the house.
Manitoba has last rock advantage on this 10th end.
Okay. Leave it high.
Manitoba's once again referring to the time on the clock, and they keep saying, you know, look at the time, but they've got lots of time left with 8 minutes and 59 seconds.
Well, Jan Betker takes the Manitoba stone out of there. The shooter also rolls out. This Saskatchewan rink attempting to do something that no women's rink from the Wheat Province has done since Marge Mitchell won the title in 1980. Manitoba's Maureen Bonar, of course, attempting to follow in the footsteps of Connie Laliberti, who won it last year and competed this year as Team Canada, finishing with a record of 6-5, the same as BC, Nova Scotia, and Alberta.
Maureen Bonar attempting another guard, and Lois Fowler puts it in a good position. Same spot as her first one.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Now Peterson will run this one off, Dawn, and hopefully roll her shooter away. That's what she wants to play. Now if she does that, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see Maureen Bonar draw around that corner guard. It's almost against the boards.
It's a good shot. I like it right there. I like it right there.
Well, Maureen asked us to say hello to her brother Jeff down in Rapid City, South Dakota. She said he was scrambling around attempting to find a satellite dish so he could watch today's telecast, and we hope he did.
Touch more. Yeah.
big shot that was. Because I'm sure Bonar was looking at maybe going around that one. Now she has no choice. She has to put it in the rings.
Nice one. Shot. Where was that in the last end?
It's tricky to hit.
Right here? No, right over here?
Yeah, over here, I think, eh?
She threw it kind of wide on the last end.
How about over here?
Where'd you get Valley?
Valley there.
Yours would be right there.
Yeah.
You know, the joking and kibitzing we saw from Sandra Peterson, is this a means of relieving tension?
I think so. I mean, you know, these are tough situations to be in. Mentally, I mean, you're tired. You play a lot of curling games all week, and it's coming down. It looks like it's coming down to one rock.
Is it?
You know,
Same
so
old?
it's a way to release a little bit of tension. But you notice that Lois Fowler and Maureen Bonar said, where can we put it? Where's the tough spot in the ice? You heard Lois Fowler say, remember the outturn a couple ends ago that she had a little trouble hitting over here? Let's put it over here.
Yep. Well, straight up. Yep, come on. Come on. Very hard. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. Hurry.
Make sure this one is in. Ah, yeah, she's got nice weight. Beautiful T-line weight. That's 4-foot weight. It's in the center.
I was thinking maybe, oh no, I was thinking maybe we put it right on the 4-foot. She needs to roll over here. She isn't there.
Yeah.
So Sandra Peterson
Lots of time, eh?
wants to remove this stone primarily, but she also
hit.
wants to save her shooter.
Real nice there. Yeah, little flock to 8 foot would be okay, but nose hit's good.
That's right. She wants to hit and stick to
Make sure you
force
clean it, eh?
Yeah, we will.
Maureen Bonar either to make a hit or a
We got
cold
lots
draw.
of time. I can take a bit of...
You got about 8 minutes.
Okay.
There
Have to
you
throw it
see the
pretty
rock
slow
that
to
she's
leave
trying
it
to
that
hit.
much time.
Lighting the 8-foot.
Let's just hit the stick.
8
Big
minutes
shot, guys.
remaining, and as Sandra said, it'd have to be pretty slow to use it all up.
Just play her normal takeout. That's what's going through her mind. I don't want to overthrow it. I don't want to underthrow it. Same takeout weight that I've thrown throughout this whole game, and everything should be fine.
No. No.
Boy, she's well out there. Is it going to come across on? They haven't laid a brush to it. Has she got a piece of it? Oh, she got a good piece of it. But not a brush laid to it, so she was a little bit heavier than she wanted to throw, I think.
So the best that Manitoba can do is tie and force an extra end. This crowd extremely supportive for their hometown heroine.
That weight's fine down middle, eh?
Well, she's taking a little bit more ice. You see her just
Okay,
converting
clean.
with her rink.
Yeah. Clean, okay, guys? Just clean.
No more. This is the runway.
She started off the beginning of this end saying to her front end, clean. So she just reminded them, keep it clean. Taking a little bit more ice, maybe a little bit quicker down there.
Very hard. Right up, right up, right up. Help, Lo. Help, help. Hurry.
Well, they're going to have to go hard on this one.
Can they get it there?
Oh, they're all out there.
Or is Saskatchewan going to steal it?
Oh, is it going to stop or is it going to... Oh, she's going to make it. It's going to be there. What a great draw. Great brushing by Rhonda Fowler and Allison Bell.
A relieved smile on the countenance of Maureen Bonar. She was yelling all the way down the ice. And in this championship game, we are going to an extra end. Manitoba 6 and Saskatchewan 6. And the rules of the championship provide for a 3-minute break before the extra end gets underway. Well, this crowd at the Keystone Center has certainly received its money's worth from this Manitoba-Saskatchewan battle.
Leave it to the sweepers. Okay. Clean group.
Manitoba 6, Saskatchewan 6, and we'll return with the 10th and deciding end after these messages. Well, we're awaiting the start of the extra end. I believe when we left, I said we were awaiting the start of the 10th end. The extra end is coming up. And both sides holding a team meeting, a little pep rally, each providing encouragement to the other.
Wow, this is a very pivotal time in the game. You know, you're playing an extra end, but there's no bigger shot than Marine Bonar's right there, Don. It looks fairly simple. There's no rocks in play. Just throw it down anywhere in the house during the game. But boy, the situation dictates how crucial it is, and it's difficult. She made a great draw, but Rhonda Fowler and Allison Bell really got that draw there because they worked on that thing all the way down the ice.
Well, she gave it to her sweepers and they took it there, but it was interesting watching the body language of the Saskatchewan players down here on ice level, because I think they thought that rock would be short and they had that championship one right there in the 10.
Yeah, they thought if they could just get a little bit of a string on those rings and maybe pull them back just a bit towards the bumper, she might have been a little bit short.
Rhonda Fowler with her first stone of this extra end. Will it get across the hog line?
Oh, she's short.
The entire stone has to be across the hog line at the far end.
Well, the advice Maureen gave them all was be short, be short, be short. That's obviously not what she meant, but when you're throwing the rock, you're in there thinking, I can't be in the rings. You know, I've got to be out front.
Colleen, what about this call by? What about this call by Saskatchewan here? You're tied up, you have last rock.
I like it.
Throwing it through the rings.
That's right. They're a good peeling team, and they've got to remember that. They've got to know that Sandra's going to make her last rock a nose hit. And don't give Manitoba anything to freeze to or anything to hide behind.
You wouldn't throw it over in the corner and say, okay, throw up your guards, we'll run them all off, and eventually you'll have to deal with this one on the side.
You could do that, but I think the Saskatchewan team knows, you know, they just peeled all last end.
Yep.
I think they know they can do it again.
So you feel that dictates the way they play this end. They played the 10th end so very, very well, peeling off everything. So that dictates how they carry through the 11th.
That's right.
This is a very straight turn down here, Don, and it's very easy to peel rocks off in the in-turn side, as long as you don't fling it away outside or away inside.
Marcy Gooderwright doesn't want a nose hit, and the shooter will roll out of play.
Boy, she's been a tower of strength, peeling off those front ones.
As far as percentages go, Allison Bell has had the most difficulties in this afternoon's game, curling at 65%.
Meanwhile, Rhonda Fowler has played just exceptional. She's 98%, so that makes up maybe for a couple of Allison. So she's played very, very well, very strong.
Now, we talked about the time clocks during 10 ends of regulation play. Each side is permitted 75 minutes. When a game goes to an extra end, they reset the clocks. Each side has 10 minutes.
That's right, to play the extra end. And they give them, you know, it works out to about 7.5 minutes an end during a regular 10-end game. And they give them a little bit more time in extra end because they realize that in extra end situations there may be a little bit more strategy involved and take a little bit longer to play.
Well, as Colleen said, the introduction of the time clock was a big plus because there were some games where you could go have lunch and return before a decision was made on the shot to be played.
You got that right. I think that was one of the good rules they put in.
I'm just not sure that I like the penalty. If you do happen to run out of time, you lose the game.
That's a pretty stiff penalty. There's no question about it.
Clean. Yep. Yeah, come on. Hurry hard. It's out there in the frost.
Sure to say it's out there in the frost.
Come on, guys, even in this one.
Well, that's 2 on this end that the Manitoba rink has lost to the hog line.
And I don't think it's getting any heavier, Don. It's just, as I said earlier, you're trying to make the perfect guard by throwing it halfway between the house and the hog line. You certainly don't want it in the house or behind the tee line. So you're just being a little bit extra careful, and you take a little bit off it. You don't drive out with your leg drive hard enough, and you take a little bit off the rock, and that's the reason you hog it.
Well, the problem that Manitoba is encountering now, not only are they running out of rocks, but they don't have anything out in front, any opportunities to even hide behind a stone.
That's right. Basically, what's happened here in this whole end, Saskatchewan's playing with 8 rocks, and Manitoba's only playing with 6. Because of the 2 hog rocks. Not only that, you know, in the back of your mind, Lois Fowler's thinking maybe it is a little bit heavier.
Maybe it's heavier. That's exactly.
Maybe my 2 teammates didn't put enough on it, but maybe it's getting a little bit heavier. I'll just add a little bit to this one. Of course, invariably what happens, you add a little bit, could end up in the rings, and that's not the place you want it. There she is. I always like hitting rocks that are close to the rings. If I'm clearing rocks, I like them close to the rings. I don't like them halfway between the house and the hog line. That's a phobia I have.
Jan Betker is going to corner this stone and keep everything playing. 6 rocks remain to be played on the extra end of this Women's Championship.
There's a great deal of relief in an extra end when you're peeling rocks, when your job is done, or when you get that peel that you've done your part.
The worst thing that can happen if you're peeling rocks is your very first rock at the end, your lead hits it on the nose.
Oh, that's
the whole end is dictated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough your third, maybe with their last rock hitting it on the nose, but when your lead hits it on the nose,
you're catching up all the time. You're trying to get that double peel.
Good shot by Lois. 2 great shots by Lois Fowler.
Lois Fowler's stone has just barely come to rest, and Jan Betker is ready to throw. She was sitting in the hack almost the moment that Lois Fowler reached the throwing hog line.
No, never.
She's got a corner.
Good, Jan.
Good is right. That's excellent shooting by Jan Betker.
What do we do? Put another one up front, or do we come in and hope she hits and sticks and crease to her? Or?
I would put it out in front, Maureen.
I think put another one up front. Center line?
Yeah.
Well, you know, you put another one out front. If she peels it, you put one in the rings. There's always the chance that your opponent will hit and roll out.
That's true. The danger of putting it in the rings, Don, if you put it in the rings and it stays in front of the tee line, the other team hits it, how do you get around it? I mean, it's very, very difficult.
Didn't kick, I don't think, did you? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure that Sandra Peterson is thinking ahead as well, visualizing what might take place with these final 4 stones.
Lots. Oh.
Nice weight, Mo.
That's an excellent shot. Now, see, by being there, Don,
Not quite that tight, but that's all right.
if Sandra Peterson hits it on the nose, there's still lots of room to go around and catch a piece of the 4-foot. But if you're in the 8-foot and they hit it on the nose, how do you get around it? It's too difficult, too tight to the 4-foot or the button.
Well, first and foremost, I guess, in the thoughts of Sandra Peterson right now, remove the stone. Secondly, roll out of play.
Yes. You're going to throw peel weight, okay? Pardon me? You're going to throw peel weight. Yeah, it'll move up a bit, so you'll have to get on it, Joan. Okay. I want it right out of there.
Let's do it. Let's make a shot.
Put it on the side so you can easily roll off. Like that in-turn spot over there. No, she knows that this out-turn is where she threw it by. Why don't you just do down on the tail end, too?
So like we throw the end down there, it runs pretty straight.
That's what you call planning ahead.
We got lots of time to think about it.
Fowler and Bonar already plotting what they will do, where they would like the stone if Peterson hits and rolls out.
It'll take a little bit longer than normal. Sandra Peterson usually.
Yep. Hurry! Hurry! Hard!
Now there is something to hide behind.
It's not much, but it's protection for Manitoba.
Okay.
Should be fine that I just threw, eh?
We saw a couple of ends ago trying to draw in around this area.
Yeah, Kurt really walks off center.
Remember, Colleen, we talked about, you know, out-turn on the center line, stays there a long, long time, then finishes really big time at the end.
It's really cool. So that's over for a while. Listen, the way you had
was good. Sweeping weight.
Here, Lois Sanger. Now the last one you threw, the one in front of the 12-foot, that's perfect draw weight. We sweep it, you'll be in the 4-foot somewhere. Catch a piece of the 4-foot.
Is there a button? That weight I just threw pretty good, eh, for sweeping weight? Yeah, it walks. Yeah, it walks.
You heard Bonar saying it walks, and that's exactly what happens. And once she gets over that center line, it'll walk right in. She could miss that guard on the left-hand side by a good 6 inches and be completely buried.
Yeah.
Final stone at the extra end for Manitoba's Maureen Bonar. Tied with Saskatchewan at 6. They have to get it there, or Peterson will have a free draw to win.
Oh, she just pulled in. Top 12-foot.
But now Peterson looks at it. Does she just play a draw? Or does she hit this rock and hope to roll into the ring?
Come off the inside of that.
You know, I think she prefers the hit compared to the draw.
Normal weight here. I threw too much
But
last
she could
time.
hit it and not get a piece of the ring.
That's exactly right, Don.
I think so.
Okay. No,
And this is a nervous shot. Because she has to get a little bit of roll. She doesn't want to hit and roll away. She goes into another extra end. But I mean, you've got a cold draw, full fault, but you win.
Oh, well, it's been a good game.
This is a difficult shot. This is a difficult call.
I'm going to put you in the spot. What shot would you play?
Draw?
Colleen?
Well, I think the reason why Sandra's playing this shot is during the round robin when she was playing Quebec, the exact same scenario, and she elected to draw, and she pulled up like a half an inch short. So I think she's remembering that. This is a tough shot because she's got to get the roll.
Quit avoiding the question, Colleen. What shot would you play?
I don't know.
She'll throw good. It runs straight down there.
This is the one she feels good about making, so it's the
That's
one
exactly
she can play.
right. That's exactly right, Colleen.
Oh, good.
This
Do
is
I
the
get
one
extra
shot
points for
she
that?
wants to play. Not what you and I expect to play. She feels a lot more confident in this one than any other shot.
She needs a slight roll into the rings.
She's got a good-looking shot. She's got it. She's going to get the roll.
Yes, she is. Sandra Peterson with her final stone on the extra end. Removes the Manitoba rock and rolls into the 12 and claims the 1993 Canadian Women's Curling Championship.
Oh, what a crucial shot. What a great shot to hit and roll. Played it perfect. Went to her strength on. Her strength is takeout. She drew on that strength and made a great hit and roll. And what a great attempt by Manitoba and Maureen Bonar's team. Just a beautiful effort.
So the drought comes to an end for Saskatchewan as Sandra Peterson claims the 1993 Scott Tournament of Hearts. A drought in Saskatchewan women's curling that has lasted since 1980 comes to an end in the neighboring province of Manitoba as Sandra Peterson, Jan Betker, Joan McCusker, and Marcy Gooderwright win the 1993 Scott Tournament of Hearts. Tears of joy, relief, and happiness for Sandra Peterson, standing by with Colleen.
Thanks, Don. Sandra Peterson, you seem to be in a bit of shock still.
I can't believe we've done it. I'm not quite sure what we've done yet. I just can't believe it.
Congratulations. Now, what was going through your mind when you went down to throw the last rock?
I just didn't want to overthrow it. I overthrew the one in 10, and I just didn't want to overthrow it. Just throw easy weight and make sure we stuck around so we didn't have to go another end.
Tell me about this team. What makes it work?
I think the humor and the friendship that we have with this team is incredible, and I'm just so proud of them. They just played so great ahead of me. I just can't believe it.
Did you think about drawing it all with your last rock?
No, not at all. If you make a half shot with a draw, you lose. If you make a half shot with a hit, you know, you at least go the extra. So absolutely not, never.
Now it's on to the World Championships in Geneva, Switzerland.
I guess that's what they tell me. We just didn't want to think of outcomes after today. We just wanted to think about the shots and think about the game and never think about any outcomes.
Well, I played in the Worlds there back in '82, and I can tell you they use a lot of cowbells there, but you're used to there because of your Saskatchewan fans.
Our fans have been great, and we're just so pleased. I'm sure they're very proud of us.
Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thanks, Colleen.
All right, back upstairs to Don.
Yes, and for Sandra Peterson, not only a trip to the Worlds this year in Geneva, but a return to next year's Scott Tournament of Hearts in Kitchener. We'll have the presentation of the championship trophy to the Saskatchewan rink, but first, let's go for a sports update to Sports Weekend Control and Scott Russell.
All right, Don Whitman, as you say, we'll be back for the presentations in Brandon, Manitoba. Saskatchewan winning its 9th Canadian Curling Championship, the first since 1980. Sandra Peterson, the winning skip today. First, let's update